Commissioners, members of the public, I'm going to convene this meeting with roll call. Commissioner Andradas will be joining us, Commissioner Field. Present. Commissioner Fuentes.
Present.
Commissioner Levine will be joining us. Commissioner Lewis will be joining us. Commissioner Matt.
Present.
Commissioner Mesa is present. Commissioner Morrison.
Present.
Commissioner Murray will be joining us. Commissioner Sanchez.
Present.
Commissioner Stein. Present. Commissioner Thomas is absent today. Commissioner Yap is absent today. We have a quorum. Commissioners, I'm going to read through our motion on ex parte communications. An ex parte communication is a communication between any member of the Los Angeles Charter Reform Commission and any elected city officer or member of any elected of the city officer's staff regarding a matter pending before the commission. An ex parte communication does not include any communication that takes place on the record during an official public meeting. The requirements of this section do not apply to communication between a commission member and a member of the city attorney's office providing legal counsel. A commissioner shall disclose any ex parte communication at the next commission meeting following the communication. Any off-the-record communication that takes place during an official public meeting shall be disclosed before the adjournment of the meeting. Disclosure shall include the time and date of the communication, the form of the communication, the approximate duration of the communication, if applicable, the identity of the persons who participated in the communication, and a summary of the content of the communication. The summary shall include a general description of the types of charter reforms communicated. Commission members or commission staff may ask the commission member to resubmit communication disclosures that are not sufficiently detailed. The Charter Reform Commission staff shall maintain a public database on the Charter Reform Commission website where a log of ex parte communications can be found. The charter staff shall update this log within 72 hours of an ex parte communication disclosure. Failure to comply with the requirements of this section shall subject the commission member to a potential censure by the commission, and the commission may resolve to recommend the appropriate appointing authority initiate removal of the commission member. Violation of this section shall not render any action of the commission or commission member invalid. Commissioner, I will go around the dais to see if there are any ex parte disclosures since our last meeting. Commissioner Field. No. Commissioner Fuentes.
No.
Commissioner Matt.
No.
Commissioner Andradas.
No.
Commissioner Stein.
This is the most ticky tack disclosure. I talked to the controller before, just to introduce myself and did not discuss commission business.
Today, at 10:30 a.m., I had a phone call with former Commissioner Martin Schlatter, who now works for the council president. Among other things, we caught up on life. I went through the full list of recommendations that the commission has passed so far and what's pending. Commissioner Sanchez. Commissioner Morrison. All right, thank you, commissioners. We now, before public comment, I have a brief statement for the commission and members of the public. Commissioners, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and I want to congratulate you and the public for all the work that has gone into this process. We said yes, we can. We have a number of items on the agenda today. I believe we have 6. We also have a hefty agenda on Thursday. As of right now, our last scheduled meeting will be next Tuesday. I do not anticipate, unless things change, that we will need to meet past next Tuesday. So I wanted to let commissioners know, but we will keep each other updated as we move forward to conclude this process. All right, we do have an elected official who is here to for comment. We have the controller who will have up to 5 minutes to speak. Mr. Controller.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'll keep it very brief. First of all, I want to say thank you for approving our independent budget for the city controller's office. It really means a lot, especially when you're trying to do the job as the independent watchdog. Unfortunately, the staff report includes the current percentage of the general fund as the independent budget, which is at 0.29%, which is the amount that we've gotten after years and years of cuts. It's actually the lowest that this controller's office has ever been. The controller's office used to be funded at 0.52%, It also used to be funded at 0.43% and also 0.42%. So what we're asking for is not some big number to go above and beyond, it's to just do the bare minimum. We have 159 staff right now, and at the height when we had more of a percentage, it was nearing 220 to 230 at those times. And so you could just see that the budget since, the nineties and the 2000s have only just grown astronomically. But luckily for us, we still have a strong mighty team. We have only 5 fraud, waste, and abuse investigators, but we were able to still catch a service provider for obtaining $23 million fraudulently. And $23 million is actually my current budget right now. And that is just one case, and you could just see that if we're able to be more proactive about our investigations and not reactive, maybe we could stop more fraud from happening. Just to give you some context, we get over 700 fraud, waste, and abuse claims a year. And on our audit side, we only have 7 performance auditors. And so our audit teams consist of 2 to 3 people, and they take from 8 months to 12 months. So in actuality, we're only doing 2 to 3 audits a year. And one of the things that I get a lot from every elected official and even the public is audit this, audit that, audit this. And I have to tell them we have to follow professional standards called generally accepted government auditing standards, GAGAs, and we take that very seriously. And so for us, I'm hoping we can put us back to not even the highest on where it was, but just put us in the middle at 0.42%, instead of the 0.29%, which is where it's at right now. Other than that, thank you so much and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Commissioner Andrade, welcome. Do you have any ex parte disclosures or diary that you? No, but I think that. Oh, sorry about that. Well, but regardless. All right, we're gonna move on to public comment. I will hand it over to the executive director. As a reminder, we have 1 hour total allotted for public comment. We will have 30 minutes of public comment in person in the room, followed by 30 minutes of virtual public comment. If there is any remaining time from virtual public comment, we will come back to public comment in the room. Executive Director.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we have, looks like 13 to 14 people signed up for public comment, in person.
Do. Two.
Okay, 2 minutes. Alrighty, hi folks, I am gonna call names, 3 at a time, please come on down. I won't be giving a warning, I'll just say thank you, next speaker. Our first 3 speakers are gonna be Lauren, Michael, and Nick. Lauren, Michael, and Nick, come on down.
Your tires, I thought I don't need this.
Hold on, I'll get my timers ready. Okay, begin.
Hi, since he took office, Kenneth Mejia's controller's office has identified fraud, waste, and abuse of our money. Case in point is the $23 million, which is one fraud case. This was done with a hampered budget of only 0.29% of the general budget. Imagine how much more we the taxpayers would save that was increased to 49%. The very bare minimum to do the job adequately, to carry out the charter and the duties. It's my understanding that it's also less than the previous budget. I would say this office pays for itself, and as a taxpayer, it's a good use of my tax dollars. I implore you to budget for 0.42%. To me, it's a no-brainer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Howdy, friends. I'm here to remind you why the proportional rate choice voted with multi-seat districts should be among the options you present to city council recommendations. So right now, I'm going to take all districts. Large groups of voters get 0 representation. The candidate wins a seat with 51% of the vote. 49% of the votes in that district have no seat at the table. If we adopt multi-seat districts using PRC, we will lower the barrier to entry, such that multiple communities can win representation within the same district. PRC ensures that nearly every voter helps elect someone who represents them, not just the majority. So today, 30 to 29% of the vote can be wasted. If we look at Portland's recent PRC election, 87% of voters helped elect at least one candidate. So PRC means winner take all distortions are reduced, and gerrymandering becomes far more difficult. The goal of this commission is to strengthen democratic legitimacy. The PRC will broaden representation, reduce structural distortions, and build greater public trust in city government. So please include multi-seat districts using PRCB in your list of recommendations. Let's make sure city council has a good range of options to consider. City citizens, thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Nick, after Nick is gonna be Katie, Jeremy, Zach. Katie, Jeremy, Zach are after Nick. Nick, begin.
Hi, everyone. Many times we talked to you about the need to do the right thing when it comes to solidifying the controller's authority, giving them a protected budget, making that budget sufficient. But with this one, I would like to give you a statistic. The analog to the controller's office that serves the United States as a whole, instead of a single city, is the Government Accountability Office, and it is one of the highest ROI offices in the country. Over the past 10 years, it has averaged about $116 returned for every $1 put into it. And it is very reasonable to believe that the Los Angeles City Controller's Office gives significant and similar returns. And I would use that as the basis for arguing for a protected budget that is sufficient to do their job. And quite frankly, I would be happy for anything even above 0.042%. Additionally, I would like to point as we're talking about the final results here, the final things going into the thing, I would like to rapid fire go after a few things. One, as I said at the beginning, I will still say now, I think that 25 council members is sufficient. I do, however, implore and urge the consideration of auto scaling with population. So if our population increases dramatically, we have a mechanism to automatically increase council size if we go back to enormous council districts in the future. Additionally, I would like to bring up the thought of financial clarity. In the CAO report that you have, there is a new charter section 316 that I would push back on because it gives the CAO the ability to audit themselves. And if CAO is managing budgets, the controller should be clearly auditing and financial responsibility. And Charter Section 316 as proposed there should fall under the controller just based on that recommendation. RCP is hugely important, and I thank you very much. I know it was not an easy thing to come to terms with, but I think it's a fantastic thing for the future of our city and feel.
Thank you so much, and next, Katie, come on down.
You really can't.
Katie, Jeremy, Zach. Katie.
Hi, if the city ever wants to present like it's not corrupt and in on that corruption, then we have to fully fund the controller's office. Give them another 10 million, 20 million, give them what they need. The controller's office needs to be independent and their budget needs to be protected from retaliation. If the levers of power of the controller's office is overseeing for fraud, waste and abuse can simply defund the office, that makes it impossible for them to do their job, which is what has happened. With the World Cup, the Super Bowl, the Olympics coming, we need accountability more than ever. We need to make sure that the people are not being robbed. Because honestly, from what I've seen, this city robs the people a lot. And it is time for LA to hold itself accountable, so please, please fund the controller's office.
Thank you so much.
Afternoon, Harry Payne with the RLM Coalition and representative of Taos, California. I'm here to speak on two items. One, I just want to speak on the voter eligibility charter language and hope that this is a friendly amendment that Chris could introduce, but to better communicate the intent and spirit of your recommendation, I just want to advise the commission to replace the language of the council may by ordinance to shall by ordinance as it is done with the ranked choice voting charter language, just to ensure that city council does act on lowering the voting age for 16 down to 16 years old, and also it enforces or acts on non-citizen voting for city elections and school board elections. Second, I want to uplift the very thoughtful recommendations or comments made by Lionel in his letter regarding the public advocate office. I too believe that the creation of a public advocate office would help with the representation of marginalized communities, would also ensure some better accountability and transparency of our city policies. It would also help to contribute to better community engagement and education, which will be paramount as you switch to ranked choice voting and lowering the voting age to 16 and allowing non-citizens to vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Zach, after Zach is Ross Amy.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you all for your service. I realize you're coming to your end Zach Sokoloff, candidate for city controller, and you know, strange as it may seem, I'm here to speak against a budget for the controller's office, both at the 0.29% or the 0.42% level. I think these arbitrary point in time budgets really hamstring budgeting over the long term. They create very arbitrary levels, and often what we find is floors become ceilings. There may be years where the controller's budget needs to be above 0.29 or even 0.42%, but there may also be years where it needs to be below that amount. I think if the controller is doing his job effectively, first and foremost, the work will speak for itself and the budget dollars will flow. And secondly, it is incumbent upon the controller to negotiate the council and the mayor to ensure that their budget is effective. If the controller is unable to do that on a regular basis, in my view, that is an indictment of the controller itself. The last thing that I'll say, and I know that we're in an election year, and it's very common for politicians to pat themselves on the back. I would encourage the commission to look at the LASA audit, which was in fact the source of the factual identification of the fraud that the controller claims credit for. But again, I think at the end of the day, the controller needs to demonstrate through its work that it deserves the budget that it has. There is no need to set arbitrary floors or caps on what that budget should be. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you so much, Ross Weisschauber, representing Barrett Ballet. And in 2016, commissioners, Berkeley passed Measure Y1, making it the first in California to lower the voting age for school board. But youth weren't able to vote in Berkeley for another 8 years, in part because that's how long it took for Berkeley City Council to actually pass an ordinance to lower the voting age. And today's draft charter language makes the same mistake as the Berkeley charter language that was passed. It says that council may pass an ordinance. We don't see that language or any other meetings that are today. And the consequences are real because they're happening like right now. In November 2024, voters put a city data bureau in the charter, but they use less than 50 words. The details would all be in ordinance. Today, no city data bureau exists. And your recommendations won't either unless the basics of implementation to guarantee implementation with the right details are passed today. Please do not pass charter language to lower the voting age that doesn't get the job done in the charter while still allowing council flexibility in ordinance. And finally, I'll say that I think this demonstrates the real power of a charter compliance ombudsman or watchdog like the public advocate to help to unstick these charter issues to represent the public in the room. Who else will elected to do that? If you, for instance, make the city attorney an appointed position, please take that into consideration. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Skip Rob, I think accidentally. Still writing.
First is that, thank you so much for hosting today's resources in color. It helped readability a lot, really. I really appreciate it. On to the stack proposals. The existing language for the voting age is problematic. It accidentally lowers the age someone can run for office to 16, but it also doesn't protect their voting rights. The right to vote is a fundamental right that needs to be established and protected in the charter. It can't be left to the whims of political officials choosing when they can or cannot vote. The public advocate is a position we desperately need. It solves one of the most critical issues this commission was charged with, but has yet to solve, the issue of mayoral vacancy. During the policy fire, a public advocate could have stepped in and provided relief and direction much sooner than 3 p.m. A public advocate gives neighborhoods and constituents another avenue to follow up on when roads and lights need repair. And the public advocate has the ability to make and second motions without facing retaliation from the council president. This is a real solution to issues we desperately need solved, and I wish you would prioritize it higher on the agenda. Finally, please seriously consider the motion to set up a standing charter commission. A standing charter commission ensures lasting institutional knowledge by providing charter experts and the ability to flexibly handle the needs as they come along, instead of forcing everyone to wait 10 years. This does not include a regular charter commission for meeting every 10 years. Instead, it provides charter experts who can work with the Reform Commission and provide the answers that you need. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. After we're all, it's gonna be advertising, Chantel and Johan. Go ahead.
Hey, Rob Kwan, I wanted to first start out talking about charters that are council size, and my general issue with this is something that we see on a number of issues coming across. And who knows what will be on Thursday's agenda, and that is the staff is making decisions, some of them entirely understand, some of them entirely reasonable. But they are not things you instructed them to do, and they're not indicating what those decisions are, and that basic transparency is something our city attorney regularly provides. We have to have in this process. One example of that is the most significant language regarding council size, the implementation. They only give you one option. In 2023, the CLA put together a number of options that have been advised over a number of months, including potentially giving our council members 6-year terms for the transition. This was something overwhelmingly favored by the ad hoc committee, by the council members, so I don't know why we're ignoring that. There was a suggestion that your final meeting is gonna be Tuesday, and my question to that is this commission not gonna approve the final report? Or is the final report gonna suddenly be done on Tuesday? I don't think it is. Periodic charter review, there's so much unfinished business here, some of it intentionally that you were leaving the ordinance, but some of it that we did not have time to get to, and some of it that we disposed of prematurely. Lastly, for the public advocate, I will just note, we are creating a erosion of checks and balances by bifurcating the city attorney's office. And having somebody, a public watchdog on the council is really, really important. We have done nothing here to eliminate or alter the council fiefdom problem. This changes things so there is actual citywide regional representation and perspective. We have multiple council members that somebody can turn to if they need service requests. The council president, we have done nothing to actually address their power and stranglehold, their silencing power over our council and the members we actually get elected. And lastly, corruption, not all of it is hard corruption. Some things that people think of corruption are just dysfunction and need to be called out. Why did we get the ex parte motion from Monica Rodriguez? Because she was persistently calling it out, and so many of our council members are afraid
Thank
to
you
do
so
that.
much. Michael is next. Michael, come on over.
Michael Feinstein, from Santa Monica Mayor, two things. First, we send language to your chair and to your staff about the ranked choice voting charter reform text. And we thought you were gonna take that up on Thursday, but you changed your agenda to put it on your agenda today. Your text is not ready. We went to the people who have drafted the Oakland and San Francisco text. Terminology is wrong. There are additions that would strengthen the transparency and reporting that need to be in there. And our recommendation is not that the council does it by ordinance, but that it's put in the charter. And I'm hoping that your chair will move to continue that specific text until Thursday. We didn't send it to the rest of you because we thought we'd have it just to your staff on time, but then you changed from Thursday until today to take that up. The second thing is, I understand that there will be a motion, instead of taking up PRCB again, to simply forward in the appendix to your final report an objective accounting of the minutes of when you took it up and the memos that we sent in response to the government structure committee. I just want to emphasize that the reason you exist is because of the Fed tape scandal. And while you are to be praised by advancing ranked choice voting, it does not address the root causes, why that scandal occurred, and why you were set up. And your responsibility respectfully is not simply to give something that the council will support, but it is to educate the public. And I think you will be short-changing the public if you don't include information about the one approach, multi-seat districts elected by proportional representation to ranked choice voting, that actually addresses problems that led to you being set up in the first place. So I hope that you will support that kind of motion. Unfortunately, two people who we thought would vote for it aren't here today. Don't know where it's gonna go, but even if you don't, we're going to carry that forward.
Thank you so much. Chantel.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Chantel Daniels. And I want to acknowledge that I, like many here, have taken engaged in this process, reviewing materials, listening, and offering input. I also submitted proposals for your review to support the more responsible and accountable system. I want to speak in strong support of maintaining and strengthening independent oversight through the city controller, Kenneth Mejia. The controller's office receives over, like he said, 700 fraud, waste, and abuse claims annually, operates with limited staff, and identified millions in fraud while being funded at just 0.29% of the general fund. And I don't think it's excess, but it impacts the community at large to not have the oversight and accountability. Cities such as New York, San Diego, and San Francisco demonstrates the importance of a strong independent oversight. And I respectfully suggest the following language. The city shall maintain independent and adequately funded oversight of public funds through the office of the city controller, with the authority, staffing, budget, and legal support necessary to conduct audits, investigate fraud, waste, and abuse, and provide transparent, timely reporting. And before expanding city council, which I agree we need more city council support, I ask that we devise a responsible system. I also emailed a report and some suggestions surrounding it. Right now, accountability can feel like a game of where's the wall, difficult to find and harder to access. Without fixing that expansion, it risks increasing inefficiency.
Thank you so much. Was gonna be Ryan, and then we're gonna switch to virtual welcome.
For the minutes, I'd like to recognize that Commissioner Levine has joined us. Commissioner Levine, do you have any ex parte disclosures? No. Good evening, commissioners. It's been a roller coaster of a ride with y'all, right? So I'm here to express my support for the updated motion to include PRCB as the appendix, as a neutral stance. I know it's been expressed that multi-member districts may be confusing for voters, maybe local propensity voters, people of color. But I'm gonna speak from my experience as a first-generation Mexican American. Right, oftentimes it's really hard to explain to my parents what I do for work in terms of the advocacy room. And you know, they have expressed, you know, whether or not we can trust politicians, right? In a background of their distrust with their experience and their local electeds in their hometown Mexico. So I think this is a great opportunity to rebuild that trust here at City Hall, and not just, you know, think about high propensity voters that keep electing our electeds, but let's open the, you know, let's think about the local propensity voters that don't often vote, whether it's because of language access, because they don't trust the politicians, or whatever the case may be. And let's have our elected officials, city council, and their staff look at the proposals, putting PRCB in the appendix. Thank you so much, and have a good day.
Good afternoon, my name is Brian Vieira, president of the Pearson Democrats. Thank you for your time today. Proportional ranked choice voting is really important. You can see young people like myself who've been consistently showing up to peace meetings because the decision made here will directly impact the future of the area. As a young Angelino, this is an important concept to me. This is my future. The way our city chooses to structure its democracy will affect how my generation participates in civic life for decades to come. And I know many of you have spent weeks studying PRCB, hearing testimony, and engaging in dialogue, and I truly appreciate the seriousness with which you've approached this process. And because of that, I urge you to allow this conversation to continue by recommending PRCB to the City Council. Young people like myself want the opportunity to engage with our elected officials, share our ideas, and have those ideas considered at that next level. So I ask that you share the support that has been expressed for PRCB and include it in the appendix of your reports to the City Council, so this conversation can continue and our ideas can be a part of the future of the city. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ready for virtual public comment. Just a second. The first 3 people on virtual public comment are going to be Tamaya, Carolina, and Christine. Tamaya, you're going to be our first person. We're going to take off mute. Just give us a second.
Yeah.
Okay, Tamaya, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Hold on, I'm just gonna turn out. Okay, try again.
Awesome, thank you. My name is Tamaya Denard, and I am the Programs and Partnerships Manager for Represent Women. Yes,
You're just a little, I don't know if you can be a little closer, we're doing the best on our end, if you can be a little closer to your microphone.
okay. Does that help a little bit?
You turn up all the volume.
It's all the way up,
Okay,
yeah.
alright, go.
Okay, so my name is Tamaya Denard. I am the Programs and Partnerships Manager for Represent Women. We are an organization that works on gender parity. I thank you for advancing ranked-choice voting so far, but I'm asking you for additional support for proportional ranked-choice voting and use it as an option as it combats low voter turnout, consistent underrepresentation of women, people of color, and lower income communities. What I also ask is that you understand on the national level, the Supreme Court, while having come down with a ruling, is threatening to limit voter rights and disenfranchised voters. But I want you all to think of Los Angeles as a line of defense for your citizens. Implementing PRCV is a way for Los Angeles to safeguard your rights. I ask that you consider my testimony and adopt ranked-choice voting to ensure responsible and adequate representation for the citizens of Los Angeles, because the last thing you want to do is when voting rights are stripped, say that we could have done something about it and we didn't. Thank you, and I yield my time.
Alright, thank you. Our next person is gonna be Carolina. So gonna check with
Yeah.
Carolina, you're gonna be our next test.
We're gonna try a different one. It might just be
Space.
far. Thanks, Gary. Sorry, who's the next?
Carolina.
Okay.
This is Goodman.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, good afternoon, commissioners. Carolina Goodman, League of Women Voters of Greater Los Angeles. We greatly appreciate the enormous commitment of time and energy you've made to the charter reform process. Regarding item number 4, a final report with sufficient data and context will encourage council to consider your recommendations. Extremely important are section 2 of the report, providing essential context and evidence, and section 4, outlining the specific changes. Without detailed information, descriptions of pros and cons, and rationale for recommendations, council members will be inclined to dismiss valuable suggestions for improving city government and the lives of the people of Los Angeles. Please ensure that the final report you submit to the City Council captures the essence of the tremendous amount of work you've done. With respect to item number 7, the League of Women Voters of Greater Los Angeles supports this motion. Please note that our city charter has been changed 35 times since 1999. For a city of this size, it makes sense that we have a standing commission that would meet on a regular basis to see that new charter reforms are properly implemented and that outstanding reforms have a way to be addressed in the future. And there will be ongoing maintenance of the charter. We encourage your yes vote on this motion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Christine is next. After Christine is gonna be Annabelle Andrews.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, Christine, go.
Okay. Redrawing the map to create more single-member districts will not solve our underlying problem, especially without an independent redistricting commission. Smaller districts can still be gerrymandered, and it remains nearly impossible to draw boundaries that fairly represent every community without diluting some voices. Multi-member districts with proportional representation ensure that representation reflects how people actually vote. Seats are won in proportion to vote share, eliminating the distorting effects of gerrymandering. They would reduce the fiefdom problem in which a single council member can stall or control projects within their district. With multiple representatives serving the same community, decisions require collaboration and coalition building rather than unilateral power. With an odd number of representatives to prevent ties, representatives would deliberate and vote just as this commission and the city council already do. For fairer representation and more accountable governance, I urge you to recommend multi-member districts with proportional ranked choice voting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Annabelle. Annabelle, can you hear us? Annabelle?
Yes, I can, thank you. And
Can
can you hear me?
It's
an echo on her side.
It's an echo on your end. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Is
Okay.
it still echoing?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, great, thank you. So I am a youth advocate, and as a youth advocate, I have learned that one of the most important things when making a recommendation is clarity, both for the council and for the voters. Because they will not vote if they do not understand, or if there is a contradiction within the language. This is the current issue with the language of the Vote 16 proposal. Now, I am part of Vote 16, I fully support the message and intention, but the language makes it so that there are a few main issues. Firstly, it is not true to our intentions. 16-year-olds do not want to run for office, but that will be allowed if this current language is kept. 16-year-olds can run for office because under the language it claims that all registered voters are eligible to run for office. That is not what we want, and what we'll do is decrease the credibility of our movement, making it so that the norms that we all already agree on are diminished by a proposition that is not what we want. Secondly, we need to legally require that if people vote for lowering the voting age, then that actually gets put into action. We mentioned before Berkeley and how that took 8 years for that to actually happen. We cannot repeat Berkeley's mistake. We need to make sure that we legally require the council to lower the voting age if the people deem it so. This is the basic principle of democracy. Thirdly, we need specific language. What we do, we define, we date it, and we demarcate it. That means we define what Vote 16 is, specifically making sure that it is for all elections, not all, apologies, for municipal city elections, including ballot measures, which is not in the current language. Secondly, we need to demarcate how that will go into action, and we need to date it to make sure there is as soon as possible.
Our next speaker is Andrew.
The speakers just.
It was on her end. It was on her end. She had one of
Yes. Thank you.
Andrew, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Thank you.
Yes, go.
Thank you. Yes, I want to just express my support for proportional ranked choice voting in multi-member districts, as well as my support for a strong and independent controller. And as such, you consider this budget increase, which to me seems very reasonable. Thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you so much. Sorry, Steve, we are taking you off mute. Steve, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Sure, and just after Steve, it's gonna be Jester, Shada, and Mr. Feist. Go, Steve.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Steve Chesson, President of Californians for Electoral Reform. I hope your day is going well. Mine is. I have 2 comments. First, please support the item 6G proposal to include information on proportional ranked choice voting in the Commission's final report. Second, the item 1D RCV Charter Amendment, 3rd paragraph, where it says the council shall by ordinance establish the procedures for conducting the elections using ranked choice voting. If you're going to leave an ordinance up to the council and not take Mike Feinstein's advice about recommending charter language based on San Francisco and Oakland, which I highly recommend that you do need to reword that opening to read, the council shall, by December 31st, 2029, adopt an ordinance that establishes the procedures for conducting the elections using ranked choice voting. A deadline for adopting an ordinance by the end of 2029 is important if the city is really going to use RCV in 2032. When 2030 rolls around, the city council will be focused on the upcoming redistricting cycle and will have little time to work on an RCV ordinance. That is why including a December 31st, 2029 deadline for an ordinance in the item 1D version of a charter amendment is so important. Of course, what would be better would be to adopt a charter amendment similar to what Oakland and San Francisco have in their charters. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and consideration.
Thank you. Let's see, sorry, Jester. Jester, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Go.
Good afternoon to the Charter Reform Commission. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Jester Jersey, and I run the Vote 16 California X-Class Twitter account on behalf of supporters of lowering the voting age in the state. Today, I would like to speak on Agenda Item 1E regarding Section 408B, voter eligibility. Although I'm grateful for the Commission's recommendation to lower the voting age, I'm worried about the charter language as written. The most notable being that there is no legal requirement to incorporate it into the charter, even approved by voters. I would like to point to the ranked choice voting charter language, for example, for comparison, where shall is used 3 times as opposed to may, making it sound like an optional reform. Another concern I have is this wording limits young voices to voting during regular election cycles only, not impromptu ones like recalls, nor does it allow for voting on ballot measures. It should be clarified in writing to say for all types of elections to avoid ambiguity. Sending the current charter language as proposed will only cause the recommendation to be ignored, or worse, discarded, silencing the voices of young Angelenos who have helped make Los Angeles the city that it is today. I urge the Commission to make the language clear before sending it in a final draft to the City Council that emphasizes that the City Council, quote, shall establish, end quote, lowering the voting age to 16 in the City Charter and, quote, for all, end quote, election matters. Thank you again for your work and careful consideration. I yield the rest of my time, and I wish everyone today a happy St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you so much, Shada.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, go.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you for all the hard work that you have done on this charter reform. Many hours that you've spent is amazing. I hope that all the work that you've done is going to bear us good fruits. I want to speak to item number 6, public advocate. Angelenos desperately need a public advocate. I'm thrilled that you have recommended an inspector general and strengthening of the ethics commission. However, many of the issues that Angelenos face will not be addressed by either the inspector general or the ethics commission. I recently reported a very prominent city official for a number of unethical and illegal acts. However, I was told that their crime does not raise to the level of criminal prosecution, because unless I could provide the prosecutors with, pictures of these people moving with suitcases full of cash and or hiring hookers in Vegas, it would not rise to the level of prosecution the way prosecutors appreciate. So we do need a public advocate that is closer to the public, to be able to hear their concerns in a much faster way than a inspector general or ethics commission could. I thank you for the time.
I'm going to note for the minutes that Commissioner Murray has joined us. Commissioner Murray, do you have any ex parte disclosures?
No.
Perfect, thank you. I'm sorry. Commissioner Lewis is also joining us. Commissioner Lewis.
Do you have any ex parte disclosures? Thank you.
Thank you. I think we might have a Mr. Fist and a Mrs. Fist. So we'll see who we kick off.
Mrs. just lowered
Mr.
her hand, so it's Mr.
Mr. Can you hear us?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, so there's a lot of languages being approved in, I believe, kind of a rushed fashion. The last Charter Reform Commission had a lot more time. And either way, the stuff is subject to the council's discretion. So I think if we're going to be putting forward and improving language, it should probably be stuff that it's heavily focused on. Maybe we should focus on a few things that we really hash out, really flesh out, understand the implications of, instead of maybe rushing through it as we seem to be doing now. Otherwise, I suggest everybody resign right before the deadline to submit your recommendations, to send a bit bigger message that the people are done with business as usual and that the people are taking the city over, and that a public advocate is supposed to be the council members. And since they're not advocating for the public, then the public needs to advocate for itself. And it's not going to happen with another position. It's going to happen when we fill the city halls, I guess, and we refuse to leave. That's what we need to do. So maybe step down right before your report is due and send a bigger message to the city council and the people of LA. Because right now this shit is a fucking mess. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew, then Jamie, then Shai. Andrew, Jamie, Shai.
How much time do I have?
Andrew?
How much time do I have?
2 minutes, go.
Okay, so a lot of good ideas on this agenda today. I like the idea of potentially considering ranked choice voting. I like some of the ideas regarding trying to have like a public advocate or someone who can help to do push for some of the stuff that's maybe not as much financial stuff, but more stuff that can help benefit the public. But yeah, ranked choice voting, if we can have that for city elections, that would be pretty cool. You know, things like the mayor, city council, things like that. Because right now, we often see that those mayoral elections end up being very much basically forced with one or two candidates. And it might help to maybe help some of those smaller candidates get some more votes and such, and dilute some of the more weird ones that have terrible ideas. But yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Okay, sounds like done. Jamie?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, go.
Okay, so first I'd just like to say that the controller found $23 million worth of fraud with a $23 million budget. Imagine what would happen if you actually gave him an adequate budget. Penny pinching here is not a smart idea. Mostly I want to talk about that we are once again looking at mayoral powers. Just like a few weeks ago, there's zero context on the agenda materials on the specifics up for a vote. Last time it was up, we saw a commissioner completely unaware that this would give the mayor power to preside over council meetings and introduce motions. And Chair Meza quickly adjourned the meeting since he knew he didn't have the votes. And it's absurd that now that it's up again, that you're still hiding the ball on the specific powers involved. The other proposals invite corruption, which remember, guys, is one of the primary reasons we're here. And you should reject them all. Allowing the mayor to unilaterally restructure departments is an erosion of checks and balances. I'm going to say that again. It is an erosion of checks and balances. Allowing the mayor to transfer funds invites corruptions. When that threshold was increased in 1999, we saw Mayor Riordan abuse that new threshold as a slush fund on his way out. So whatever you're considering with expanding these mayoral powers, I really hope that you consider it both in the context in which it's came before, but also thinking about it in the worst case scenario, because let's face it, it's LA. The worst case scenario is the one that's kind of our baseline. Thanks, guys. Oh, and I have a CIS later, so I'm here for that too.
And if you, Shida, then we're gonna come back to Maya. Shida, can you hear us?
Yes, hi. Hi, I'm Shida Gandharizadeh. I'm born and raised in Los Angeles and have been an avid voter in every election since I became eligible. I currently live in downtown and I commute to Playa Vista for work. And I'm here to just ask that proportional ranked choice voting is advanced alongside ranked choice voting. Proportional ranked choice voting gives us the electoral reforms ranked choice voting does, as well as expanding city council. Multi-council member districts also allow for constituents to have a choice of which of their council members they would like to turn to when they need one of their city councilors. It also allows for less contentious elections, more representation within our city council, and it is the better alternative. Ranked choice voting is really good. If I was going to give it a rank, it's 2, but proportional ranked choice voting is my number 1. And so, you know, since we're here innovating and trying to change our charter, let's go for the best option, which is proportional ranked choice voting. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you to Maya.
Can you hear me okay?
Can you speak again?
Can you hear me?
A little better. Let's just go.
Okay, so my name is Tamai Denard. I am the Program for Partnerships Manager at Represent Women. And we are proponents of ranked choice voting because when it is used,
You know, we just cannot hear and understand you. I'm so sorry. This is with a different mic.
I don't know what's happening. Okay, let me try something else.
Yeah, we're gonna come back to the room first, maybe try a different device and we'll check back one more time. Let me check to see if you have an addition, if you have anyone addition to something.
Yep.
But.
Yeah. It's another list.
Lionel, Addie, Lionel and Addie. Very cool. I can take back if they go. Why don't 2 minutes go?
Yes, good afternoon, Commissioners and staff. My name is Lionel, speaking for myself. I'm here to speak in support of the Office of Public Advocate. We need a public advocate to represent our communities and to act as an advocate for the people of Los Angeles. I also support ranked choice voting because our city council, current city council is overextended and unable to fix our broken infrastructure and community needs that we all demand and want and pay for. I also support the recommendation by the city controller to strengthen the controller's office and audit function. I also support civic assemblies. Why active civic participation matters is in our democracy. It's because active civic participation is crucial for a healthy democracy, as it ensures that policies reflect the community needs and values, fostering trust and accountability in government. It empowers citizens like all of us here present to address public concerns and to improve community-wide, making governance more responsive and inclusive. Thank you for your time and happy St. Patrick's to everyone out here protesting their rights.
Thank you, Addie. Is Addie here? Addie McKeon? No. Okay, is our friend Tamaya back? I'll try her one more time if she is. Tamaya, we're about to take you off mute. If you're back, if you can hear us.
She's not here.
She's not, all right. Mr. Chair, that concludes all.
Great, we now move on to neighborhood council community impact statement. I know of one, at least one online. If you have any online, please raise your hand. Are there any in the room? All right, seeing none, we'll have 5 minutes for community impact statements.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, Jamie York, Reseda Neighborhood Council. All right. The Reseda Neighborhood Council supports the addition of a standing charter review commission. This commission would allow far more responsiveness and retention of institutional knowledge regarding charter issues rather than waiting every 10 years. Reseda Neighborhood Council recommends that the Controller Office receives more than 0.29% of the general fund and agrees with the request for 0.42%. We wonder how many more cases there are like Alex Sufer and Abundant Blessings, where the city was swindled for millions. Regulatory control and review can often be a money saver in the long run, and we do not believe that our oversight mechanisms are the best place for penny pinching by the city. We believe that the draft charter language that lowers the voting age to 16 may unintentionally authorize 16-year-olds to run for office. We note that the Charter Commission did not state an intention to authorize 16-year-olds to run for office. As such, clarification is needed. Please amend Charter Section 407 on eligibility for office to clarify this. Additionally, why does the draft language suggest an ordinance to be created? The Commission voted explicitly on lowering the voting age. The staff draft language does not match the Commission's motion. Fix that. We find that the CAO's 2-year budget report makes broad, sweeping, and unnecessary recommendations. We're particularly concerned about the invention of Section 316 when Charter Section 292 is adequate for doing studies that council and mayor direct. The CAO should not be investigating the success of their own budget. This should be a process directed by council, the controller, or both. Lastly, Reseda Neighborhood Council strongly supports the previously introduced Fuentes-Thomas motion seeking to recommend the creation of an elected office of the public advocate. This citywide official would be first in line to fill in for the mayor. The council president has enough responsibility as it is, and we cannot afford to have our acting mayor distracted by the responsibilities of running a council meeting while responding to emergencies. And so please keep in mind that as the Palisades fire broke out in 2025, our council president was presiding over a council meeting. CPRA messages released last year revealed that our fire chief was frantically asking someone for the council president's number. They were told the council president would call the chief. Due to his responsibilities at the meeting, the council president ultimately did not reach the command post until around 3 p.m., over 3.5 hours after the chief asked for his number. The public advocate, however, would be available to fill in for the mayor during both short and long-term vacancies. Council President Harris Dawson addressed this exact issue during the November 2023 committee discussion of the motion to establish a charter reform commission. Quote, we actually had the real question of mayoral vacancy. Yeah, there was a time when people thought our mayor might leave. Well, it turns out the mayor's never vacated the seat before the end of their term in the entire history of LA. So we actually really don't know what happens, and the charter isn't good at describing what happens. End quote. Despite the council specifically asking for you to, quote, further clarify a vacancy of the mayor and the role of the council president, this commission has not advanced any changes that would address these unresolved legal questions. We cannot ignore the potential charter crisis that could arise. We've previously expressed our concerns about the unintended consequences of bifurcating the city's attorney's office as you've recommended. An appointed city attorney is far more likely to tolerate looser interpretations of the council's obligation to hear from the public, respond to Public Records Act requests, uphold the Brown Act, or follow the law just more generally. The public advocate could speak to these issues as well as when they come up at council meetings. They can also serve a unique role of charter compliance and can inquire and report on the failure of city offices to follow the charter. This commission has also advanced a number of reforms for neighborhood councils, which we are grateful for. But too many past experiences tell us that we will need to fight to see those reforms properly implemented. A public advocate would give us someone to turn to with the platform to call out non-compliance with the charter. We do have locally elected council members, but they have limited powers on the council, mostly tied to individual committee assignments. They're also focused on their district and do not always have a citywide perspective on issues like land use, infrastructure, transit, or delivery of services. The motion focuses the office upon tailoring the office towards prioritizing responding to citizen complaints. It offers constituents another place to turn to when following up on 311 requests. The public advocate can also translate that perspective into change. They are a non-voting member of the council and able to introduce and second motions. They are also a non-voting member of all committees. This enhances the representation of the broader city on council as well as on committees. It also ensures that we have a member on council who does not have to fear having their committee stripped in retaliation. The city controller is focused on fiscal matters, and the Ethics Commission has limited jurisdiction. The public advocate simply seeks to fill in on other fronts when those bodies cannot serve as true watchdogs. As the first in line to become mayor, the public advocate.
We now move on to approval of meeting. We have two meeting minutes before us. They've also been posted online and reviewed to commissioners. I would first like to take up approval of our meeting minutes from our meeting on Tuesday, March 10th. Is there a motion to approve? So move.
I have a correction.
I'll second the motion, Commissioner Morrison.
It shows that I was stated that was my first.
Thank you. We will, without objection, we will make that amendment. Seeing none. Is there any further discussion on the meeting minutes from March 10th? All right, seeing none, without objection, I would like to approve the meeting minutes as amended from March 10th. Is there any objection? All right, seeing none, the meeting minutes are approved. Commissioners, we now move on to approval of the meeting minutes from our special meeting on March 17th. Is there a motion to, for our regular meeting on March 12th? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mack, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Stein. Commissioner Morrison.
So in, let's see, item number, yeah, the second last page. So it says, on the page that starts with floor area ratio and then the public bank approved 7 ayes and two nays. It shows that Commissioner Thomas voted both. I think that was Commissioner Stein voting no with me.
That is correct. Thank you for the correction. Is there any objection to the amendment? Seeing none, thank you. Any further discussion on the meeting minutes of 12th? All right, seeing none, I'd like to approve the meeting minutes from March 12th without objection. All right, so ordered. Thank you, commissioners. Right, commissioners, before we move into the items, I would like to take a 15-minute recess. If there's no objection, we will convene at 4:45. Thank you, commissioners.
Nick? Michael? Nick?
Commissioners, members of the public, I'm going to reconvene the meeting with roll call. Commissioner Andradas. Present. Commissioner Peel.
Here.
Commissioner Fuentes.
President.
Commissioner Levine. Present. Commissioner Lewis. Present. Commissioner Matt.
Here.
Commissioner Mrs. Present. Commissioner Morrison.
Present.
Commissioner Murray.
Present.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Present.
Commissioner Stein. Present. Commissioners Thomas and Young are absent. Commissioners, we now move on to item number 1, consideration and possible approval of potential government structure charter language for final recommendations by the Commission of City Councils. We will go through each of these items, Commissioner. I'm gonna ask Commissioner Andradas to walk us through each of them, and then we will entertain motion for discussion. First up, item 1A is council expansion. Commissioner Andradas. Yeah.
Yeah, well, item 1A is the creation of 25 single-member districts as would expand council size to 25 single-member districts, each representing approximately 155,000 residents. This would increase representation and improve constituent access to council members.
Thank you, Commissioner Andradas. Do you have a motion, Commissioner Andradas?
Yes, I do actually. I have a related motion. Thank you. There was a typo on the draft language related to council size. I moved to change the last clause of the proposed new section in 241A. It currently says if the member has served 2 years of office prior to the initiation of the 2-year term. I moved to change this to say the member has served 3 terms of office prior to the initiation of the 2-year term. So this is related to at the end of the paragraph.
Why don't you read the full sentence?
Oh, yes, let me find it, okay. Okay, so it's right now it says at the very end. The 2-year terms contained in this section shall not constitute a term of office for purposes of the term limits constrained in section 206. Unless the member serves two-year terms of the member has served, or the member has served 2 terms of office prior to the initiation of the 2-year term. So where it says has served 2 terms of office, it would say 3 terms of office.
May I ask a question of the amendment?
So well, let's do this. So there'll be a motion, substitute motion. And I'll second.
Okay, so I would
To approve this.
to move to approve this with that amendment.
Right. Okay. Commissioner Stein.
My question is, as I read it, this may change it. But it was almost like we were extending term limits. Not in a sneaky way, but by never talking to it, because if you serve 3 terms and you're one of these with 2 terms, it gives council member 14, assuming they're elected each time, 14 years of office rather than 12 years of office. Am I reading this incorrectly?
No, you're reading it correctly.
And reading it incorrectly.
No, you are reading it correctly, yes. Can I invite staff to the podium to explain why this is the language that was presented? Yes. In response to Commissioner Stein's question. Or City Attorney, I don't know.
And could I add a question, since we're gonna have some, and I guess it's not on the specific amendment, but there's the idea of the entire council being elected at one time. I would really like an explanation. That does not sound good. We've got to do this so that it's half and half somehow.
City attorney. Well, so start with all the city attorney's office. So for the,
Speaking to the mic.
sorry, for the 3 years, the amendment, that's because currently you can have 3 terms, so that was a typo. You're right that if you haven't served the full amount, you're effectively getting 2 extra years, right? That's done. I believe, and I may need some other staff on this, I believe this was modeled on some of the provisions in other cities, I can't remember which, that have staggered the introduction of this. It's just a question of how we do it. So Commissioner Field, but it could be done differently. It's up to you all. But there is no simple way to transition.
Is there a way, Mr. City Attorney, where we could write it so that it would be a 3-term max? And no council member would have the ability under certain circumstances to serve 14 years rather than 12. Again, assuming fact not in evidence that he or she is elected, 3 times.
So yes, we could, well, if you've already served 3 terms, you can't do it. The question is, what if you've served less than full 3 terms, and then you just have to make a decision?
Correct me if I'm wrong on this, so the decision was either to cut a council member's opportunity to serve their full 3 terms or to give them a little extra time. It's kind of, if I'm wrong, I believe it's to mirror when they changed the terms to align, kind of like when they changed the terms to align with the new election cycle in November. Some elected officials got extra time. The counter to that is to take time away from their terms, which is not the spirit of what the voters intended. Or I think in this case, what commissioners intent would be to potentially take away years from an elected official. And one of the other reasons that I think the proposed overall map is because, everyone run at the same time, because you could have, if you stagger, you will have overlapping council. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, let's say you stagger, all the evens are up in that first cycle, all the evens of a 25-member council. You still have the previous council members serving from a 15-member council overlap. There is no truly easy way of doing it. I think one of the reasons we've looked at this and this is what is here is because this is the less messy way of doing it without having, who's my council member, who's this, who's that. Oh, I'm your council member, then you have dueling council members saying who has jurisdiction. So if you're gonna change the whole system, change it all at once. Yeah, that helps. But that was the thought process, not to, add too much of an error, so that was just the thought process.
May I ask a clarifying question of staff?
Sure.
This may be actually dialoguing at you a little bit, so
Sorry, doing what?
speaking at you.
Oh, sure, go for it.
So the way it works, right, if we didn't change council size in a regular redistricting cycle, there would be overlap, right? Typically, where whoever ran the new maps would still have some jurisdiction on the old map, so there would be some overlap. But because we're expanding it so much, there would be a very high amount of overlap that's irregular relative to redistricting, so it's a good thing in your mind when writing this. It's a good thing to run everybody at the same time so that you're not having every person serve large swaths.
I think it's a cleaner thing.
Okay,
I think that's exactly right.
okay. That makes sense.
I think when you said it's the least messy of your options. Again, just imagining, having possibly more than one council member, which sounds great. In theory, but dueling offices, 3 offices, arguing over whose district that street is on, could be.
Commissioners, we have before us, substitute motion to advance. Any further discussion?
Could it please be restated that last sentence is going to be changed?
Yes. I don't know.
If you could restate the entire.
The 2-year terms contained in this section shall not constitute a term of office for purposes of the term limits contained in section 206, unless a member serves 2-year terms or the member has served 3 terms of office prior to initiation of the 2-year term.
Second letter with this. One more time, Commissioner Rose. Okay, I want everyone to be clear.
The 2-year terms contained in this section shall not constitute a term of office for purposes of the term limits contained in section 206, unless the member serves 2-year terms or the member has served 3 terms of office prior to the initiation of the 2-year term.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna call a vote on the substitute motion that was just read. Commissioner Andradas.
Yes.
Commissioner Field.
Yes.
Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Mao.
Yes.
Commissioner Mesa votes yes. Commissioner Morrison.
Yes.
Commissioner Murray.
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Yes.
Commissioner Stein.
No, since I was opposed to expanding council to 25, substitute goes.
Motion passes. All right, we are on to item 1B, Chief Financial Officer. Commissioner, let's see.
Give an opportunity to offer additional things of funds that leave that way.
Yes, but before that, I think that's.
Is that what you just voted on, was that the motion substitute or on the then substituted motion?
That was on the substitute motion.
Sure, yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Lee.
Yeah, staff has proposed this series of 2-year elections.
Yeah, Commissioner Lee, it was addressed later, stepped out, but I apologize, but it's okay, I think, city attorney staff, it was the least of all the vested options, was the summation.
True. It's your turn.
So when we had charter, when we had Measure A, we extended the length of terms. And part of it was not just around ease, but also the real politic of getting council members to support such a thing. And I think we are asking the council, I know we don't like to suggest that they operate in self-interest, but we're asking the council to do a lot here when we move to 25. And making them run in 3 2-year terms over and over again is something I know people aren't. Now, some of them may have an opinion that we should expand the size of the council. We have to provide both carrots and sticks. And I think moving to 6 years, even on offset, would be more simpler for voters and would accomplish the goal of moving to 25 in a much cleaner way. So I don't know if staff can explain why that was not addressed, but if there's a desire to do it, I would say that should be how we would approach it. So
yeah,
address.
So and we talked about Measure A is that I'm
It's the alignment.
The alignment, and we brought here to discuss that, sorry, while you were out of the room. Where that was exactly the point that I made was, the alternative was to shorten terms, which no one wants. Sorry, I wasn't, which probably doesn't, which council members probably don't want their terms shortened, so the option was a later.
There are still, yes.
Yes, for some, but the alternative, to overlap what would happen is if it's staggered, you will have overlapping representation and fighting representation. But if people know, and if people know way in advance that I am running for a shorter term, and then the council's gonna extend, that's a different situation. That's something where it's baked in, I know what I'm getting, I know what I'm running for. And then there's a redistricting process that expands to 25. And then, again, I, not to say it's good or bad, which way it goes, I'm just saying this, it's probably the least messy is to just have everyone run at the same time. Otherwise, you could have 2 or 3 people saying, no, that's my block, that's my resident. I will handle that situation, or that, that, so I can control. That's just the potential.
Commissioner Levine, I've been addressed, we can move on. I would just like to note that there's a number of inherent problems with having the entire council of 25 people elected at one time to serve 2-year terms and then be expected to run for 4. I think that is not the simplest option, but I'll note it from here.
Commissioner Levine, I just wanted to appreciate the way in which you conducted your comments right now, genuinely. Thank you. I believe we also need to vote on section 487, adoption of a final redistricting plan. Alignment with this, I will still move. Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Gonzalez, do you want to just briefly?
Sure, so I'll just read it since it's not in this nice explanation of changes. This would amend section 487F to include at the end, notwithstanding the foregoing for the purposes of transitioning from 15 to 25 council districts in 2032. The final redistricting plan adopted by the commission in 2031 shall be utilized to conduct the 2032 elections, but shall become operative for representational purposes on December 13, 2032.
Is there any objection? Commissioner, I'm sorry, is there any discussion? Commissioner Field.
Thank you. A couple maybe minor things. When I see the word commission, which one? I mean, I think it's understood from the context that it's the redistricting commission, but I feel like it should say that. I don't know. I don't know what else is in section 487, and maybe the whole thing is very clear. This is about redistricting. But remember, the redistricting, independent redistricting commission is, hasn't been in our charter forever. So I feel like that word should be in there. And also, I find it a little confusing. I'd like it clarified. The 2032 elections. Again, lots of ifs. If it is ranked choice, then it'll be one election. And it'll be presumably in the early November of 2032. And why won't those districts become operative until December 13th? Is that like when the new council would be sworn in? Is that what that is? Okay, all right. So yes, that is the date that the people elected, whether there's a primary or not, but elected finally in November, that's when they would take office. Okay, thank you. But I don't know what else is in this section.
This is the section on independent district in the charter.
This is the whole thing?
No, this is just the relevant, but this is part of the section.
Is it labeled independent commission?
It is in the charter.
It is. I just want to be sure that there's no misunderstanding about which commission. Oh, you can show it to me. All right, thank you. Still like to lose hair.
It's in the 480. Sorry.
That's okay.
For the public and for the commissioners, it's in section, so in fact, section 480 does start the section on the independent redistricting. Oh, sure. And so this is down the line on 47. So that's why it doesn't say, repeatedly, independent redistricting. Within the part. Yeah.
Any further discussion on this item? All right, is there any objection to approving section 487? All right, seeing none, so ordered, thank you. All right, that was the result of the way the motion was written, so we're gonna move to, item B. Chief Financial Officer, Commissioner Andrade, would like you to explain the motion, if you could just move the bulk of it, not section by section.
Sure, yeah, I'm just gonna explain the entire item B then. Redesignating the chief administrative officer as the chief financial officer. This will designate a centralized authority responsible for guiding the city's long-term strategic financial strategy and coordinated budget planning across departments. And then I will move to adopt item B.
Second. Right, discussion. Commissioner Field.
Thank you. Just want to verify that this is essentially a change of name with maybe the part in red that's JKL with a few additional duties. And is that accurate? It's really very, very similar to the current CAO. Or whatever they're called. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yeah, it's accurate.
Okay, and I'm just curious, under the changes in this, would our current CAO be eligible to be appointed? Does anyone know?
Yeah.
Just curious.
Well, I'm not staff, but one of the requirements when I helped write this motion was that you had to have 10 years' experience in complex financial matters. I don't, my intent wasn't for switching the CAO to CFO name, but it would be someone that has that financial background.
And right now, that's not true.
No.
Okay. All right, thank you.
But after this role, you have a few more under to go.
Is there any further discussion on item B? All right, let's seeing none, I will call a vote on approving item B. Commissioner Andrade.
Yes.
Commissioner Field.
Yes.
Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Matt.
Yes.
Commissioner Massa votes yes. Commissioner Morrison.
Yes.
Commissioner Murray.
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Yes.
Commissioner Stein.
Yes.
Motion passes. Now move on to item 1C, City Controller, and to Commissioner Andrade.
Yes, so I will explain item C1, budget independence for the city controller. Allocating a percentage of the budget dedicated to the city controller's office. This will provide a stable and independent funding baseline for the office's operations.
Is there a motion?
I have.
Friendly amendment.
Well, do you want to provide a motion?
Sure, I'll move it then.
Okay, so we have a motion. Is there to approve item C, second, Commissioner Stein.
In reading the letter from the controller and in hearing from the controller today. And what the budget was for percentages years ago. To what the budget is today. And how much staff has been cut over the last several years, I would move to amend it. And propose a baseline operating budget of 0.42% of the general fund.
Is that friendly, Commissioner Rose?
I'm gonna say no, I'm gonna say no. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So let's. So Commissioner Stein has made an amendment to strike out 0.29% of the general fund to 0.42%. Is there a second?
I was looking at Commissioner Mack.
Second by Commissioner Mack, discussion.
So what are we gonna be voting on, point two nine?
Well, the current discussion is on the 0.42%. Commissioner, Mack. Oh, sorry, Field.
Oh, thank you. I just want to understand, and based on what the controller spoke about earlier in this language. Was this in the charter already that they have a certain percent?
No, this is a completely.
It's all new, so what was he referring to that it had been this or that, does he mean what they did each year?
Item C before you, on the second page. The language that's been presented to the commission. Under section 267, financial support, which is completely new. It's all red line. The motion is written as an amount of 0.29%. That is what the controller is referring to.
Meaning he was talking about our proposals, not what's currently in either the budget or the charter.
There's nothing in the charter.
There's nothing in the charter with any kind of carved out guaranteed budget. Okay,
Correct.
that's what I want to.
However, I think Mr. McGee is not here, but one of his representatives is. That what he's trying to show of going back in the past and looking at the amount of budget at that time. What that would have equated in a percentage that went to the controller's office. Where in the past it had been 0.51, 0.52, 0.47. And I'm making those numbers up, but what I'm trying to emphasize substantially higher than the 0.29 or even the 0.42. And I think he was trying to extrapolate in real dollars what it was during those times. And that's why he then came up with 0.42 for his proposal.
Commissioners Murray, Levine, and Field, and Commissioner Murray.
I just wanted to explain also for the benefit of some of our, newer members to the commission and, all of these proposals have been extremely vetted, lengthily vetted by the subcommittee and, also the ad hoc committee, but the subcommittees do all of the groundwork and then they presented it to the ad hoc committee, so, the proposal came out of, which, Commissioner Andrade chaired, came up with a 0.29. Now the controllers is asked, and Commissioner Stein is asking for that next time.
Commissioner Levine.
I just wanted to express my view, that I appreciate Commissioner Stein's exuberance for ballot box budgeting. My view is that there is a process by which the city controller can secure funds for the good work that the city controller's office does. That process is the annual appropriations process conducted by the mayor and the city council. And that for us to be continuing to apportion more and more of this budget for individual departments is maybe noble, but is against the spirit of the charter reform process. The charter reform process is intended to build the watch that will run, not intended to create specific policy outcomes, in my view. And so I will be voting against this proposal to expand the amount of appropriations as part of the general fund. As I will be voting against the overall consideration for minimum budget for this department.
Commissioner Field.
Yeah, I always need some more clarity. And it's kind of what you were just saying. In other words, if we stick to 0.29, that's a floor, not a ceiling. The controller can still advocate during this annual or the biannual, whatever the budget's gonna be, for more. Is that correct?
That's correct. Commissioner Field, if I can draw your attention in that same section, section 267, financial support, if you look down to D, it says except as provided in section 242 with regard to funds appropriated from the general fund to the controller's fund.
Right, and it says not less than. So the 0.29 is a floor. And they can still, I think that's what you were just explaining, right, Mr. Levine, that they can still advocate to get a bigger share
As
of
they
the
do,
budget.
as he does.
Okay, all right, thank you, that's all.
I have myself in the queue, and then is there any other Commissioner Morrison, please, first?
And apologies for my voice. I too, as a relatively new commissioner, have been surprised to see the carve outs for particular departments. And it seems to me we're setting the precedent. You could make the statement that the Bureau of Street Lighting needs a certain percentage of street services, engineering, the city attorney. And as I understand it, we approved an increase for parks and recreation. And there's a set aside for libraries, perhaps, those are two set aside. So I am not in favor of this either. I think it sets a precedent to continue the ballot box budget.
I have myself and then Commissioner Andrades. I'll say, I very much respect the commissioners who are versed to ballot box budgeting. I think I was the sole, not was one of the two votes against the parks budget, and even though it's something that I strongly believe in. I had this, I think I made these comments earlier before, either of our two members were on the commission, that there were two areas where I did support defined budget in the charter. And it was specifically the ethics commission and the controller. Because if we believe that they are a watchdog and they are a check in the system of checks and balances in the city, that to me, there is not just a logical sense, but there is a necessity to put a floor of a budget. But I do also agree with the philosophy that has been stated against that. Commissioner Andrades.
I actually tend to agree with the sentiments of Commissioners Morrison and Levine. Insofar as one of our public commenters pointed this out, but with this particular carve out, I think that a floor in 10 years will become a ceiling, and it will prevent the city from being agile in a way that's necessary. Especially because one of the most important parts of the political process is sitting before the legislative branch, articulating the needs of your department, and then receiving that funding. But once you create a carve out, especially with such an essential branch, there's no incentive for the city council to increase your funding whatsoever. So I am really hesitant, specifically as it relates to the controller, because I think that his work is, and the city controller's work more generally is so important that 10 years down the line, this might become bad policy.
Commissioner Lewis.
Try to keep it brief. I think several commissioners have made very legit points on both sides of the argument. I guess where I'm coming down with is to I think Commissioner Fields' point is that this point nine is just a floor. And to Commissioner Levine's point and others, the controller's office can always advocate for more, if need be. I also understand there's a line of thought that this is a wise investment for the city to make because of the savings that the controller will, even in the letter, it was a savings for 23 million. So I get the return on investment argument. That also assumes that there's going to be continued waste throughout the next X number of years. I hope it's not the case. But yeah, so you want to keep side bet on waste if you. I guess I lied about things to say. So I'm also generally adverse to. You've heard the term ballot box budgeting. I'll call it prescriptive budgeting. I think those who are charged with, their respective duties should know better and should be allowed the autonomy to make those decisions. So I guess I've kind of argued for both sides here. But your arguments are moving me on both sides. Go ahead.
I absolutely disagree.
So yeah, I'm ready to vote.
All right. So the vote will be on the amendment to increase from 0.29 to 0.24%. The appropriated annual sum of not less than for the controller's office. Commissioner Andradas.
Yes.
Commissioner Field.
On this amendment, right?
Yes, this is on the amendment. This is on the 0.42%.
No,
Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine. Yeah. Commissioner Lewis.
No.
Commissioner Matt.
Yes.
Commissioner Messa votes yes. Commissioner Morrison.
No.
Commissioner Murray.
No.
Commissioner Sanchez.
No.
Commissioner Stein.
Yes.
Motion fails. All right, we now move on to the main motion, which is approval of item C. Item 1C. Is there any further discussion?
Just to clarify, as to the city controller, the 0.42, there's not gonna be another, there's no other motion on the floor.
The motion on the floor is to approve item 1C, which includes the 0.29%.
Okay, thank you.
And a question for, so if one is opposed to articulating a number, one should vote no.
One should vote no. Another option available to commissioners and to strike out that section, depending on how you want to proceed. Commissioner Field.
yeah, regarding the possibility that people will be comfortable with part one of this, which is section 261, powers and duties, and there is a change there. And not as comfortable with section 267. Can we divide this into two votes?
It's already divided.
It is.
C2 is progress interview, so even though it appears as Lionel on this piece of paper, just disregard.
So basically, we're gonna vote first on section.
No. Commissioner Foss, you are incorrect. Your motion was to approve item 1C in its entirety.
Yes, but item C2 is enshrining the controller's fraud, waste, and abuse function. Item C1 is only budgeted.
On what?
So that's like a typo type of thing.
The explanation of. This is C, and then this is C1 and C2.
Okay. I was going off the red line chart earlier with Commissioner Andradas. Is correct, everyone, there is another document, let's. Okay, Commissioner Andradas, this is what we're gonna do so that people are not so confused on this item. This one is currently on, will be on all of C, as in the red line charter language.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, now there has been. This is your motion, Commissioner Andradas. There's been a request to bifurcate it though.
Can I accept that as friendly to bifurcated?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so then we will proceed, commissioners, since it's bifurcated. We will first do section 261, powers and duties. The only changes there were to enshrine the controller's fraud, waste, and abuse options in the charter. Is that, yes. So I will read it. It is the new section that we're adding, which is L, manage and maintain a whistleblower hotline, receive and investigate allegations of fraud, waste, abuse, inefficiency, and ineffectiveness. Engage in prevention activities, including but not limited to conducting risk-based proactive investigation and fraud awareness training. All right, is there any, the motion is to, by Commissioner Andradas, is to approve this section 261. Discussion? You need to. It's still a second, yeah. All right. I don't think we need to vote on this one. Is there any objection to approving section 261 powers and duties of the controller? All right, seeing none, so ordered, approved. You now move on to section 267 financial support. The motion is to approve this at the 0.29%. Discussion. Commissioner Lee.
So what's happening in this development in this time of year is that the committee that typically meets in this room, budget and finance, moves its operation to the council chambers. They put two big tables in the middle there that aren't usually there, and they hear from every single department, and it's the gimme list. They want what they want their departments funded at certain levels, including the controller's department. It's open to the public process, it's transparent, and it reflects commentary on the mayor's budget. And we've also made significant reforms in how that process will play out that I think will benefit not just the controller's office, but all departments. And so my view is that that is the appropriate venue for budgetary decisions to be made, and how we vote accordingly.
Seeing no further discussion, I will call a vote on the motion. The vote is to approve section 267 financial support of the controller's office at 0.29%. Commissioner Andrades.
No.
Commissioner Field.
I'm gonna pass now.
Oh, I will come back to you. There is no, yeah. Commissioner Fuentes.
Can you restate?
The vote is to approve section 267 financial support of the controllers. The controller charter language at 0.29%.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine. No. Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Matt.
Yes.
Commissioner Mesa votes yes. Commissioner Morrison.
No.
Commissioner Murray.
No.
Commissioner Sanchez.
No.
Commissioner Stein. Yes. Commissioner Field.
What's the vote count? God.
Commissioner Field.
I'll vote yes.
Motion fails. All right, commissioners, we now move on to item D. Ranked choice voting. Commissioners, I am I'm circulating around the dais a substitute motion for your consideration. I will read it aloud and for the public. Let me know if you need more copies. Correct. Okay. Okay. All right, so there are gonna be copies as well for the room, but I'm still, I will read it for the public as well. All right, this substitute, I will read the substitute motion. Section 4.8, ranked choice voting for municipal elections. Beginning with elections conducted in 2032 or upon the date that the Los Angeles County Registrar can support ranked choice voting, the city shall conduct elections for city offices and members of the Board of Education using ranked choice voting, also known as instant runoff voting. Ranked choice voting shall refer to an electoral system in which voters rank candidates in order of preference. Votes are counted in rounds. Candidate with the fewest votes is eliminated in each round, and each voter's ballot count as one for its highest ranked continuing candidate in each round. When two or fewer candidates remain, the candidate with the greatest number of votes is elected. procedures for conducting the elections using ranked choice voting / synchronous voting shall include A, the ballot format, and the use for casting and counting the votes consistent with the best practices used in other California cities. B, a process to release unofficial preliminary round by round results, including the cast vote record report, starting on election night via the internet and other methods convenient to the public that maximizes transparency. Unofficial preliminary ballot level ranking data in machine readable and searchable open format no later than when the counting of the ballots is complete. And official final round by round results and ballot level ranking data in machine readable and searchable open format upon certification of the results. And C, a voter and community education and language accessibility program to familiarize voters with ranked choice voting. That is a substitute motion that I am moving for item D. Is there a second?
I mean, right, but you didn't get a second.
Yeah, I think maybe perhaps, if I may chair, is just maybe highlight the changes that you've made from the original motion.
Yes. From,
I mean, is it the red was red?
yeah, but I'd like to, that so for the public, what's being removed from the original motion is in the first paragraph, and notwithstanding any contrary provision of the charter. In the second paragraph, in the first sentence, ranked choice voting shall refer to as electoral. Later on in the paragraph, there's a phrase that starts with, and each voter's ballot counts as one vote for its highest ranking, insert continuing. Strikes out the next paragraph, which reads, the council shall by ordinance establish the. In the next paragraph, it inserts a language at the end, but I'll read the entire sentence. Procedures for concluding the election using ranked choice voting, and then it adds / instant runoff voting shall include. And deletes including. And then in A at the end, it inserts used in other California cities. In B, I will read the sentence, a process to release unofficial preliminary round by round results inserting, including the cast vote record report. Starting on election night and then inserting via the internet and other methods convenient to the public that maximizes transparency.
Oh, second, you asked for second.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, I'll give commissioners a minute to compare, but if there's any discussion. Commissioner Field.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure, cause I don't see it here, maybe it's not necessary. I don't see anything that specifies that this eliminates a primary. Is it simply understood that is, the rounds and rounds and then the final person with most votes? It all happens in one election?
The city attorney can approach the staff to answer that.
Cause I think one of my main interests in this is, elimination of the primary.
Yes, I think that's answering your question.
Okay, that it's understood.
Yes, the primary would be pointless.
Well, I'm just. The other thing, actually, maybe stay there a second, this is a more mathematical question, so I don't know. Yeah. When it says the candidate with the greatest number of votes is elected. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you have to know how ranked choice works in other places already, but. Will they have a true majority? Will they have 50% plus one or not necessarily?
They will by the last round.
By the last round, when it's like two people. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Morrison.
So, help me understand, it seems that the main change here is that it's taking away the ability for the council to actually formulate how this is gonna look by ordinance and dictating that this should happen by virtue of the charter.
Portions of it, council can still, there's gonna be a lot that needs to be fleshed out, that council's still gonna have to do by ordinance, but these items, A, B, and C would be in the charter.
And the commission feels 100% confident that this is exactly what should be said in the law. Because I'm thinking as kind of a new person in this, and you've been wrestling with this for a year, I've been on the horizontal or vertical learning curve for the past week. I think, you know, there's a psychology, I think, of introducing this to the Los Angeles electorate. First knowing that this is coming, so that if people start to, you know, learn about it. And then, to me, it seems like the safer thing would be to still have the ordinance process be a way to ensure that we have this right, as opposed to dictating it in the charter.
Commissioner Bruce.
Oh, I just wanted to confirm that this all has been vetted by the city attorney's office.
Yes. Commissioner Field and then Commissioner Stein.
Just one other. Are we sure that our county registrar has the technology to implement this for a city as large as Los Angeles?
Commissioner Gonzalez, you can respond.
Yes, the county registrar's office said they do, but it would require us to pay for them to update and change their system, which is why it starts in 2032, because it's a multi-year process that needs approval, Secretary of State's office.
Oh, and then the city has to actually reimburse or pay the county for the changes needed in the technology.
Yes, correct.
No idea what that'll cost.
Not a clue at the moment, you know, if other cities do along the way, including, we know Young Beach has this, if they want to join the county again, that would help spread the cost, and if other cities so choose to do that, that would help spread the cost, but right now, they really couldn't give us an estimate. It was an exorbitantly expensive, ESAP, I think it's called, was an expensive undertaking. This would be, not nearly as an expensive undertaking to, make the changes, to adapt to, ranked choice voting, but it's not a minor cost. They just weren't able to give us a cost estimate, just because even to give us a cost estimate, there would be a cost, most likely.
Yeah, I guess, could I just say, so if this passes and if the council decides to move on it, the presumption is that if it goes in the charter, the money must be found, I would imagine. Is that how that would work?
I mean, yes.
City attorney and then.
Yeah, sure.
I'll share with you. I would just point out the motion says. Beginning with the elections conducted in 2032. Or on the date of the Los Angeles County Recorder and corporations vote, so.
It might take longer.
I guess, but we don't want to put on our charter something that we're ET. Right, so this gives us the flexibility.
Commissioner Stein. I'm Mr. City Attorney. Does this mean that 2032 is the first year? What if tomorrow morning Dean Logan called up and said, I can handle this?
So I think to answer your question, reading this language, if they can do it in 2030. And if we still set our timelines, yes, I think it could occur right here. I think it's unlikely, but yes, the answer to your question is yes, it could happen right there. On the plain language presented here.
My second question, Mr. City Attorney, is can establish ranked choice voting by ordinance today, and there's no need to put it into the city charter?
I don't think so. I'm a little bit hesitant to tell you absolutely for sure, but I don't think that's the way it's written. I don't think it's an option.
My third question.
Don't hold me to it if I'm wrong. Okay.
Spoken well.
You'll get the bill.
My third question is, I know it's not in the ordinance, but I want to make sure that if there's a candidate who is running for office, he or she still has the ability to challenge the calculation made as to whether he or she can move into the next round. Is that built into
I
that?
think all of those other procedures, which ultimately would end up in a written court, I think are still available. Right, that happens all the time.
Thank you.
Commissioner Field.
Okay, so now a whole new thing. If the county, maybe it would be a miracle not to have, not available in real life, but if they could be back in 2030 and said, oh yeah, we can do ranked choice. But we are also in a whole other section of the charter talking potentially, again, several ifs. about having the expansion of the council start in 2032. It means we would have theoretical, pretty theoretical, we'd have the ranked choice voting potentially start 2 years before another major adjustment for the voters in how things work. Is that what this would? in
Yes,
theory?
potential, it depends on the county, again. Different counties do it at different speeds, as a former DC resident, tell you the DC voted for this in, I want to say 24. And they're about to implement it, this year. Much smaller population, but, it just, a lot of things depends, that's why we've given. That this also allows, the council some leeway on this.
Okay, but one related question. The county's actions depend on money coming from the city. So in effect, the council could control the timing of the county being ready by whether or not they pass the money to provide. Is that right?
So I think if we pass this, so. I think the city would be under an obligation to make this work. But obviously, we can't move faster than the county can, but as systems. But I think we'd be obligated to pay for it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Matt, I'm assuming we're paying for it all. If one of the necessary conditions that we pay for, we would have to.
I would like to propose a friendly or maybe friendly amendment that we adjust the language so that it reads beginning with elections conducted in 2032 or upon a later date that the LA County Registrar can support. And then the rest.
What?
Upon a later date that the LA County Registrar can support Winchester voting.
So in the first line, striking the word thought subsequently.
I think, I hear you, I think that's implied.
I don't think.
No, so I think so.
We have the attorney here.
Yeah, I think because we're having a conversation that, the way that. Personally, I think we need the time to do the voter education, and so I think amending it so that it reads or upon a later date will allow for us to.
I'm in the second.
Well, it's okay. It's friendly, so.
Okay, perfect.
Is there a friendly amendment to get Dean Logan to give us the election return more regularly?
And how much?
You don't have to, if you don't have to, I can help you.
Commissioners, any further discussion? All right, seeing no further discussion, I'm going to call a vote on the substitute amendment as amended. Commissioner Andradas.
Yes.
Commissioner Buell.
Yes.
Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Matt.
Yes.
Commissioner Massa votes yes. Commissioner Morrison.
Just to be clear, we're voting on this new language.
Yes, as amended, the amendment was a later.
I'm gonna vote no.
Commissioner Murray.
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez.
No.
Commissioner Stein.
Consistent with my belief that I don't believe in ranked choice voting, and I will continue to vote no.
Motion passes. All right, we now move on to item 1E, voting eligibility. Commissioner Andradas.
Sure, one, am I reading the, expanding the voting electorate, expanding the voting electorate by lowering the voting age of 15. And permitting non-citizens to vote in city and LUSD elections. This will give more residents representation in elections and should broaden civic participation. And then E is amendments to section 408 eligibility vote. I move E.
Second, and I know there will be discussion, so. Commissioner Field.
Yes. I think we have to think about the bigger context in this country. While these might be laudable goals at a different time in our history, given that we have a president who already has made it crystal clear that he would like to take over elections from the states, he would like to make sure that, you know, there's no fraud. I mean, we are up against, in a way that hasn't happened, I think, in the 250 years of history of this country, we are really up against it to have a fair election in the coming years. And I think this sets up the city for incredible political pressure, lawsuits from the president and who knows who else. I'm not necessarily saying these are bad concepts, but the timing is terrible. And I think if this commission does send this to the council, I would almost bet that it will not get on the ballot in this historic moment. It's no time to create conditions in which our city's elections can be held invalid by the powers above that don't want fair voting anywhere in the country. So I'm strongly opposed because of the time.
Commissioner Fuentes.
I just wanted to offer a few amendments, but also just clarify, if we move forward and we pass section 408, are we also going back and changing 407? And that would be just what the public has brought up today in terms of eligibility for office. If we were to lower the voting age, that could potentially imply that we're lowering the age for candidates. as well.
Is that an amendment?
Yes, I would like to make an amendment just to fix that.
City attorney. So the amendment, as I understand it, would be to, maybe Commissioner Fuentes, the amendment, as I understand it, could be to modify the relevant charter section to make clear that 16-year-olds would not be eligible to run for office.
Yes, and I want to make another.
Well, let's do this. Would that amendment be friendly? Yes. All right, sure.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to specifically just make that would be section for 407.
17-year-olds and non-citizens or just
16-year-olds, right?
or 16?
Yeah, the language itself, so section for 407 is titled eligibility for office, and right now it reads just the first line. Section A, election, to be eligible for nomination or election to any office under the charter, a person must be a registered voter of the city. So if we're to lower the age for voting, that would also imply that we're lowering the age for candidacy as well. So I'm offering a fix by adding the language to be eligible for nomination or election to any office under the charter, a person must be at least 18 years old. Since that's in line with our manual.
So, a couple of things. First off, I don't think that altering, so, I don't think that altering the eligibility, or excuse me, the voting age alters, it has any implication for the eligibility age, right? They're two separate things that can be differently. The other one is not to be a pain, but I don't think this is agendized for that. Okay. Agendized, that's fair, for voting eligibility, not candidate eligibility. If you want to take that up, let's put it on a different agenda, because I just don't think that's in front of you today.
No problem. Yeah, and we can get, again, since this is the first time we're digging into this whole. If we have to dig into this, so we're not sure, so Stratton's not sure at the moment. Could be, you could be right, it could be, we're not sure.
I'm sure there are things. I'm sure for Brian issue, and I'm sure that these two things are conceptually different. Whether there are separate legal issues or practical issues about lowering the age of eligibility is not something that I personally analyze. So I'm not opining on that now. I don't think it's really in front of you. Sorry about that. But we will make sure to potentially agendize this for a future discussion if needed. Those.
I have another method.
Okay. Commissioner Fuentes and Commissioner Stein.
Thank you. Then in terms of section for 408, I just wanted to offer, I believe the original language that this commission passed was not this ordinance. Request upon city council, so I was just gonna offer the edit for, item. Section 408, item B, under use voting. The language can be substituted notwithstanding subsection A or any provision of the charter, the city council shall by ordinance. So that word shall be added there. If that would be a friendly amendment.
Not right.
Okay. Okay, well, that's something else that I wanted to offer just in terms of the,
Well, let's, okay, so.
yeah.
Do you want to pursue your amendment to strike the may with shall in under use voting?
Sorry, say that again.
So you made an amendment.
Yes.
To in section 408. May and replace it with shall.
It would just be added,
Where?
it would be, oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah, right.
Correct.
Okay, and that, so just as a point of order, so that was considered unfriendly, so I'm asking if you would like to pursue it as an amendment.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Madden, second.
Okay, so discussion is on changing may to shall in section B, Commissioner Murray.
I don't think you can order the council to make an ordinance.
I think we have provisions that do that, that it's really, sorry, I think we have other provisions like that, I mean, we can require them to, create implementing ordinances. I don't think that's a problem.
Just for purposes, so we don't have to go through this again, Commissioner, Fuentes. I would imagine you want to do the same thing in section C, non-citizen substitute. Maybe Michelle, do you mind modifying your motion so we do both at once?
Yes.
Okay, just so we don't have the same conversation again in a minute. So Commissioner Fuentes' motion that was seconded by Commissioner Mack is to substitute may with shall in both B and C. Commissioner Murray.
Just for the record, so I don't make a moving objection like some of my colleagues, which are improper. I totally agree with the spirit of this, but I don't agree with the language shall. So the spirit is, yes, I believe that in the youth voting and non-citizen voting, but I don't approve of the language. As amended.
Understood. Is there any further discussion on the amendment, which is to strike may with shall in that immediate?
I'm just a little bit confused.
It's okay, Commissioner Morrison.
My underlying position is I agree with Commissioner Field. This is a very scary time for us to start a charter to liberalize voting in Los Angeles. But to say that, that's a very real, that's voting in America now. And this will, and I think it will, poison the charter reform efforts because people will go out onto something like this and look and not look at all the good work. So I will vote against, the underlying change you're proposing, Red. So I'm confused, like, what do I do with these friendly amendments? How do I, so
You may just want to vote no on all. Commissioner Sanchez.
In an ideal world, if the language is correct, that goes to city council and they say yes, when would this be implemented?
So that's a really good question, and part of the reason it's a good question is because the county recorder now doesn't have. Doesn't collect the information for people under 18 or non-citizens, so either the county or the city would have to develop an independent system to handle this, and I don't know how long that would take. And I don't know how much cost it would cost.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
It took the Bay Area about 10 years when the city, this, if I recall correctly, I think it was Oakland, one of the cities in the Bay Area, but I think it's.
Yeah, I think it's over.
We have pre-registration now, it's a different world than once 10 years ago.
So Commissioners, the motion on the floor is to strike name with shall in sections B and C. Is there any further discussion on that? Then we can get back to the main motion. Commissioner Fuentes, I offer you the opportunity, but I can call a vote if you wish to withdraw your amendment.
No, go ahead, follow.
Commissioner Andrades,
No.
Commissioner Field,
No.
Commissioner Fuentes,
Yes.
Commissioner Levine,
No.
Commissioner Lewis,
No.
Commissioner Matt,
Yes.
Commissioner Mesa votes no, Commissioner Morrison.
No.
Commissioner Murray.
Yeah.
Commissioner Sanchez.
No.
Commissioner Stein.
No.
Motion fails. We now go back to the main motion, which is item E as written before you. Commissioner Stein.
Mr. City Attorney.
Yes.
It's not even a hot seat, it's not even any fun. Same question I asked on the last one. Does the Charter Reform Commission need to do anything, or is this something that can be done out of council on their own?
I'm gonna give you the same answer as before. I think you would need.
Can we pull up the staff report for this section? Because I recall in the staff report, I would be correct, that it said that it could not be done by ordinance.
Right, yeah, but I don't remember.
Pretty sure state law says we have to put it.
I would, I'm gonna put myself in the queue on this one. Commissioner Andrades.
Yes.
Remember, the youth voting to the age of 16 has been tested in court.
Non-citizen voting, but yes,
No, youth voting, lowering for 16-year-olds.
I'm unsure.
Okay.
So I think the answer is that has been challenged and was upheld. And I don't think there's a federal issue. I think that one's fine. I think the non-citizen one is more up in the air legally. I don't think we've got. I think there's a pending case, I think, but I'm pretty darn sure that we've never had a circuit court decision on that. So I think, that's where we are legally. I can't tell you that you can't do it, but I don't have really solid court decisions that make it clear that we can.
And just to clarify, our staff report did say this was not possible via non-charter action.
I do wanna read for the record, a press release that the LAUSD school board put out. LA Unified Board supports youth voting. This is on their website stated March 10th, 2026. Los Angeles Unified Board of Education unanimously supported expanding voting to 16 and 17-year-olds in local election, a move currently being considered by the Los Angeles Charter Reform Commission. It goes on to elaborate. Commissioners, I will be asking the mover of the motion to bifurcate this one as well. I do believe that especially for youth voting, this is something that I fully support, and I don't want it to get convoluted with other issues that have been raised by the commissioners. I would like a separate vote to see where it lands, and I think that it received a unanimous support from the LAUSD school board is something that we should take into account.
Except it is currently.
All right. So then we'll do this. We will discuss for the purposes of this. For this item, we will discuss B. Solely B, youth voting. If you have a question for the city attorney and staff, it says. Who are otherwise eligible to vote under state law to vote in elections for city offices and for members of the Board of Education. It was noted that there may be other types of municipal elections, like special elections or elections where there
Are there there really aren't elections now where there are not city officials running, correct? Well, that's what I'm thinking of, could there be a situation, a theoretical situation, where the ballot is only for, say, example, a charter amendment? Or some sort of proposition?
Yes, we could have a ballot, it's just for a charter.
And would this language prevent 16-year-olds from from voting in that election? Because it is not for a city office or member of the Board of Education.
The parcel tax. So anything that this just covers city offices and for elections, yes.
Commissioner Morrison.
I just want to point out again, just for the world we're in right now with voter integrity and if you watch so carefully, I can imagine it confusing ballots. If you have a ballot in state propositions, you have your member of Congress, you've got your state legislative, county supervisors, school board, judges. Think of a complicated ballot. Somehow the county recorder is going to have to parse out the person is only 16 and they're only receive their own special ballot, or if they vote for things, they're not going to be eligible. I just really am nervous about venturing into something right now that makes us vulnerable to attack in a time when we are just trying to preserve the rights that we have.
Further discussion? Is there any further discussion? All right, then I'm gonna call for a vote on item B as written, which is youth voting. Commissioner Andrades. Yes. Commissioner Field.
No.
Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine.
This is for A, sorry.
B.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
No.
Commissioner Matt.
Yes.
Commissioner Mesa votes yes. Commissioner Morrison.
No.
Commissioner Murray.
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Yes.
Commissioner Stein.
No.
Motion passes. We now move on to 408 eligibility to vote non-citizen voting. Discussion. Commissioner Levine.
I'd like to offer a perspective that I don't think I've heard as part of this discussion, which is that part of what we are talking about here is the opportunity to engage civic participation via voting and decisions made about municipal level decisions, not state, not federal, and in this case, not county. And I think that people who live in their communities, should by right, and if they so choose, if we so see fit as to extend the franchise to those individuals, can vote as Angelinos, as citizens of the city, not necessarily as citizens of the United States. My father came here in 1976 on a green card, and he didn't vote in an election until 2008. He paid taxes, he owned a business, and raised 2 children here. Before he was ever able to vote in the city election. I guess he didn't vote in the city election until 2009. And so I think, certainly the importance of federal citizenship for voting in federal and state elections, my view is another matter. But the question is, how do we view land use in our city? How do we view the people who are making decisions about businesses in our city? And to me, it's a fundamentally different question. So that's sort of how I've come to think about this question, is through the lens of my personal experience and a sense of empowerment that we can choose to decide who gets a voice in our city. So that's where I'm thinking about.
Commissioner Field.
Yeah, what a terrible time How many people who aren't citizens wanna go to a government office and register to vote when they're scared just to go to the grocery store? I mean, this is not the time to, I mean, how many people can take advantage of this if indeed, as Commissioner said, you know, if separate ballots could be created by the county with just the legitimate items, which doesn't include taxation, recall, charter amendment, it simply says city offices and board of education members, so I just think it's a terrible time. People are terrified and don't want to interact with the government any more than they absolutely have to. And by the way, of course, that's not just undocumented. That's legal residents and unfortunately even citizens who have to look a certain way or talk a certain way. I just, you know, I think it sets us up, if the council even looks at this, which I think is possibly not happening, no matter what we do. It sets up the city for an attack from our federal Department of Justice, et cetera, et cetera. It's just a sad and terrible time, and some things may have to wait, that's my opinion.
Commissioner Fuentes.
I just wanted to offer that the neighborhood council system already does this successfully in terms of engaging citizen voters. So I think this is something, to Commissioner Levine's point about this can be like a localized way for people to participate civically. It's already been done successfully at that neighborhood level, so I just wanted to offer that as well.
Commissioner Gonzalez, I'll ask you the same question. I just gotta remember the staff one, but this one, what is the legality been on it?
This one was tested under the California state constitution, and it wasn't. The Bay Area did this. I will say that the staff report also did mention that, I think, whatever Bay Area city implemented this, it cost millions and millions of dollars, and like less than 100, non-citizens voted today. So there were subsequent negative, unforeseen consequences at implementation stage.
Commissioner Lewis.
Our fellow Commissioner Thomas is not here today. I'm not trying to do the commission, the impersonation of Commissioner Thomas. But I am channeling some of that energy right now. I'm looking at this issue from the perspective of an African American man who's grown up here in Los Angeles. And I've heard comments from many who attended meetings last several months. But just as importantly, thank you. Just as importantly, thinking about the quote unquote word on the streets that I try to stay in tune with. My concern with this proposal is potentially diluting the voices of Black folks who are still here in LA. For those who are familiar with the issues of the Black community and some of the concerns of the Black community over the past several decades here in LA, there's certainly been population decrease and a perception in the community that our voices matter less in Los Angeles. So I wonder with this proposal, how that impacts that perception. We can all argue that we're here in large part due to the phone call that was that we gave us. So I'm wondering, although I certainly understand the spirit of this, absolutely. And I understand Commissioner Fields and Commissioner Morrison's case. I won't go Commissioner Thomas on here, but I have some strong feelings, opposing feelings to, although I respect the takes Commissioner Fields, of course. I think now's the time five and a half fleet. Say that. But again, from the perspective of African American man, grew up here in LA, still resides here. And having, again, my ear to the word on streets, how this potentially dilutes the voices of folks who are still here who are already feeling quite marginalized. Let's put that out there as some thought.
Yeah, Commissioners Stein and Sanchez. Stein.
I realize that our role as commissioners is to ask what we believe is needed for the city. But I also believe there has to be some practicality involved in it. What we did on police reform has basically spurred the LA Times to write a letter on it. And if I were a betting man, I would bet that we'll have the police protectively that will oppose some of the reforms that we established. In the same way, non-citizen voting, regardless of how you feel about it, is the wrong thing now. Partly for the reasons that Commissioner Field set forth, and partly if we really want to have charter reform passed onto the voters, regardless of what city council does to amend it, what will go to the voters. It is just such a hot button issue that could sink all of the efforts that we have worked for since this commission was established. And for that reason, I would urge the vote of no on this.
Commissioner Sanchez.
I deeply respect the deliberation among this topic. I want to make sure I'm heard as well as an immigrant and parents who did naturalize. My father, literally the day before he died, didn't take his oath. It took him years for him to become a citizen. What was it? It was an apathy. It was feeling that he was still part of Mexico, that some Texans and people back. A part of him, I know, wanted to vote, but now we're living in some very, very scary times when you see Department of Health and Human Services sharing data with VHS, something that we never thought was going to happen. As we encourage folks to sign up for Medicaid, etc., people are terrified. But I come from the belief that if not now, when are we going to get a chance to be able to put this as part of our recommendations for folks who are here legally that can participate in the civic process. So I am firmly for this proposal.
Is there any further discussion, commissioners? All right, seeing no further discussion, I will call a vote on items 1C, non-citizen voting as written. Commissioner Andrades. Yeah. Commissioner Field.
No.
Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
No.
Commissioner Matt.
Yes.
Commissioner Mesa votes no. Commissioner Morrison.
No.
Commissioner Murray.
No.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Yes.
Commissioner Stein.
Yes. Excuse me, no.
Yeah. Motion fails. Okay, commissioners, we now go to item 1F. This is appointment and removal of commissioners. Commissioner Unless, I will give you a break. Commissioner, this one has just a few small changes, as you will see. It changes under the appointment within 60 days of a vacancy. It changes under section B, appointed by a president of the council. Strikes 45 days. And then it adds a new section, the prohibition of resignation letters. This was advanced so that commission appointments could be made a little more I move approval. Commissioner Stein moves, is there a second? Second. Commissioner Gonzalez seconds. Any discussion?
I just have one comment. It was really kind of amusing to see this. I remember the day I was appointed to the LASA Commission was the day I also had to sign an undated letter of resignation. And then the call was made about 5 days later to leave. That was shocking. So I'm fully to support this.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, I don't think I'll need to go vote on this one. Is there any objection to approving section 502, appointment and removal of commissioners? Seeing no objection, Commissioner Lewis? Yeah.
I'm looking at Commissioner Andradas, promising. The prohibition on resignation letter, just want to make sure there's clarity now that piece. Speak to that, please.
Yeah, so that addition would prohibit any appointing authority to require an appointee to give you a signed undated letter of resignation. They would then ask for, they would then date.
Yeah, okay, so I'm clear on that, just want to make sure.
All right, any objection to advancing the 502 appointment and removal commission? Seeing that it is approved, we now go on to item 1G, ballot access. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Compromise.
Yes, so this was compromise change. It would provide ballot access requirements by lowering the number of nominating signatures from 500 to 350. Then it would extend the time frame to collect these signatures by on the.
I move approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Gorski.
I'm just curious if you could give me some insight as to why that threshold is sort of low. Seems like 500 should not apply the threshold for serious.
Well, have you got to run our office in this city? It's very hard.
I shared your similar sentiments, but we had a lot of public comment that advocated for some, a number much lower than 350. And there were some commissioners that supported that, but the 350 was the consensus. It was the middle point between status quo and then something much lower than that.
In other words, we didn't have votes.
I will say this, Commissioner Morrison, I mean. You know, we just passed an election deadline, and there were a lot of people who got on the ballot with these rules, and there were some people who didn't make it, but there were a lot who did with the current rules right now.
Well, I'm also thinking of people who approach.
14 out of 40 mayoral candidates.
14 out of 40 gets about the requisite number of signatures. I'm just thinking of people who approach me to sign, and they're having a hard time, and there's a reason for that. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Some might say it's worse, but.
I will refer to you all look at a whole lot more. So.
Yeah, and I'll just share really quickly. The rationale was that since we're shrinking council size so significantly, almost about 100,000 residents, it'd be much harder to get that same number in a much smaller pool of the city.
Any further discussion on item G, Commissioner Levine?
Just to explore, would it be a friendly amendment to condition the reduction to the expansion?
I mean. Yeah, I just want to leave motion. I thought it was the second.
It was Ted. Commissioner Stein, you moved the motion.
I move the motion.
Is it friendly? Yes. It is friendly.
Great for voting.
So, Commissioner Levine, will you elaborate so everyone understands what the motion was that was friendly, does?
Commissioner Andrade expressed that that was predicated on the logic of expanded council. But if the council moves not to expand, we might be left with the same reduction. So my friendly amendment is to join those two pieces.
But if.
And it was accepted as friendly.
And, well, no, if it fails, it'll fail down together, right? Join, like, they're not.
Well,
I didn't predicate it on the expansion or joining of houses. I think that was one of the arguments, but I think the main argument was easier access to the citizens to participate in the civic process.
also, I mean, staff and city manager, we can like predicate in the charter language, you know, that.
I'll withdraw.
I'm just, and then clarifying that, right? This time, okay. Further discussion on item G. All right, I will call for a vote on item 1G, ballot access. This is to approve Commissioner Andrade.
Yes.
Commissioner Field,
Yes.
Commissioner Fuentes,
Yes.
Commissioner Levine,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Matt,
Yes.
Commissioner Mesa votes yes, Commissioner Morrison,
Yes.
Commissioner Murray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez. Well, sorry, Commissioner Stein.
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, we're gonna take a 15-minute recess without objection and then continue. We will reconvene at 6:45.
This is not, which is what I posted.
Yeah.
Commissioners, members of the public. We reconvene the meeting with a call to order. Commissioner Andrade. Commissioner Field.
Here.
Commissioner Fuentes. Commissioner Levine.
Present.
Commissioner Lewis.
Present.
Commissioner Matt.
Present.
Commissioner Mesa President. Commissioner Morrison. Commissioner Murray. Commissioner Sanchez. Commissioner Stein.
Present.
Commissioners Thomas and Yap are absent. Commissioners, we now move to item number 2, consideration and possible approval of potential personnel and budget charter amendments related to a 2-year budget and participatory budgeting process. I'm going to hand it to Commissioner Fuentes for a substitute motion.
Thank you. So after hearing recommended edits from fellow commissioners, as well as meeting with the staff and the CAO's office as well, and receiving a report from that, we did our best to reinterpret the 2-year budget motion. So I'll read that out. Good. I therefore move that the Charter Commission adopt the city charter language as presented in attachment 1 of March 13th. 2026 report by the city administrative officer under city council file 23-1027-S3 with amendments to section 313 and 317 to state that public comment opportunities shall be established by ordinance to ensure public participation in the city's budget development process, and that the Budget and Finance Committee shall provide opportunities for public comment on at least 3 separate dates during the committee's hearing process. One of these opportunities for public comment shall be provided on the first day of hearings, and one of these opportunities for public comment shall be provided on the final day of the committee's hearings. The full city council shall provide at least one opportunity for public comment before deliberating upon the committee's recommended provisions.
Oh, second. I see the city administrative officer with us this evening. If you don't mind, I would just like to invite you to speak to the commissioners about the report that your office just released. I know some of us read it, but it would be good just as a frame of reference. It was also a lengthy report, so if you would like to just
But very importantly, like the report, if you would like to hit some of the main points that you think would be a benefit for the commission to hear.
Sure, very well, thank you for the opportunity, Matt Zabel, City Administrator Officer. The report, that describes the attachment that is subject of the motion is just it does a number of, that's a number of, makes a number of recommendations. I do believe that this, as this commission moves forward, this is something that the council has indicated that they have very much interest in. And so I expect that they'll be taking that up as well very shortly. Moving to a two-year budget and the importance, and we discussed this a little bit when I came to present initially on this item. That there's no magic to a two-year budget cycle. We have to implement a process and transition to a process where it requires the city to do many of the things that the city is not doing currently, given the constraints of a one-year budget cycle. So the report outlines not just a transition to a two-year cycle, but a requirement that the mayor and the council approve with public engagement a four-year strategic plan. That strategic plan covers outlines objectives, outcomes, measurable goals for city departments and public service, metrics that those goals will be measured by. It also will include the plans that are developed in the capital infrastructure plan, four-year capital plan, multi-year capital plan rather. And then also will include a multi-year financial plan. So as we move through what we have currently, which is a one-year cycle where we're building on the last year, making adjustments based on the last year, with very, very little opportunity for assessment, evaluation, performance management. This process builds that in and requires in the second year of the biennial process a requirement for performance evaluation. For that process to be a public process, for the departments to be evaluated, the programs to be evaluated, that evaluation will be considered by the city council in preparation of what will be a necessary, we're calling it a midterm budget adjustment. Where we will need to make adjustments based on revenue. That's one of the, as we said last time, that's one of the challenges of the two-year cycle is probably limitations on revenue projections that we can make in that second year. So we'll need to make that adjustment. We'll have that opportunity in the mid-year adjustment to look at what actually has happened and the evaluations that have been produced over that in that second year to make those adjustments. I think another benefit, as was discussed in the motion that was just made, is it isn't just the budget cycle where there will be opportunity for public input, but the multi-year financial plan, capital improvement, capital infrastructure plan, and the four-year strategic plan will all be documents that will be developed, will require a public process, will go to the city council, and that there won't be any surprises. Everyone will know by the time the council will be considering the next biennial cycle, there will have been significant deliberation, evaluation, research, and public participation around what the plans will be. So the two-year cycle will be budgeting to a plan that has been given proper vetting and is consistent with long-term goals and objectives. I'll stop there. If there's any specific questions about what's in the report, I'm happy to answer them. So my colleague, Ben Seha, Assistant City Administrative Officers, here to answer questions as well. Should be done.
Thank you. Commissioners, we have a motion to approve the substitute amendment before us. Any discussion? Commissioner Stein.
My only discussion would be that everywhere the city administrative officer was named within the report, that we substitute chief financial officer if that becomes adopted by council, because they're simultaneous for this report, depending if there's a CFO or if there's a CA. For consistency.
Commissioner Fuentes, is that friendly?
Yes, that would be.
Commissioners, any further discussion? Commissioner Field?
Yeah, I'm sort of so confused. Your report, Mr. Zabel, was 25 pages or more. I'm just trying to figure out the relationship between this motion, which is specifically about public access for input. And is it a piece of all of your materials? I noticed some of it's in red. I don't know if that means it's chartered. I just want to know how it fits in.
Commissioner Field, just to, in addition to public engagement, this motion is on the process in the charter for laying out the mechanism of a 2-year budget.
Okay, in other words, you did already vote a big chunk of this stuff, right? This is just a small.
No, we continued the conversation to this. That's why I have so there in the report that was produced by the chief administrative officer, there is specific charter language in there. And it's being referenced to in this motion.
Okay, but we haven't voted on the language that you brought us?
No, that's what this motion will do.
Does it cover all of his, like, pages?
That's why it says that the charter commission adopt the city charter language as presented in attachment 1 of the March 13th, 2026 report by the city administrative officer.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Got it.
All right, seeing no additional discussion, I will take a vote on the motion. This is to approve the substitute motion for a 2-year budget. Commissioner Andrés.
Yes.
Commissioner Field.
Yes.
Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes.
Commissioner Lee.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Matt.
Yes.
Commissioner Mesa votes yes. Commissioner Morrison. Commissioner Murray.
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Yes.
Commissioner Stein.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Could I ask, please, Chairman Gissa?
Is it received file for the rest of the report?
No.
Regarding Mr. Sable's lengthy memo to us, is everything that has been presented and it's sort of encapsulated in what we just asked, does it fit with your ideas, your work, your recommendations?
Yes, the report lays out, not just the required changes to the charter, but also, makes recommendations that the council would take up via ordinance to support the implementation of 2-year budget. And then it makes recommendations on the appropriate transition, to that 2-year budget process, which again, requires significant work on the strategic plan, the long-term financial plan and infrastructure.
And I just need some help, I'm sorry, but, excuse me. So, all the places that you notice that have to also be tweaked throughout the charter, because of this 2-year budget. Is his stuff gonna be what ends up being what we send to the council?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sorry it took me so long, thank you so much.
Thank you for asking the questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Field. All right, we now move on to item number 3, consideration and possible approval of potential charter amendments related to commercial enterprise charter section of 104G. I'm going to hand it to Commissioner Levine.
Thank you. To refresh my memories, this was in a motion several weeks back. There is currently a section in the charter, section 104G, that prohibits the city from engaging in activity that is expressly commercial. There is a staff report here that outlines two options for how we would proceed with clarifying this section of the charter. The currently outlined, this ties the hands of the city engaging in common sense, profit seeking, revenue seeking activities that other cities participate in. If anyone has ever been to a wedding in San Francisco City Hall, you know how beautiful it is to get married in that building. You cannot do that in our city hall because there's no ability for venue for election. So that's one example. It's a small thing, but it shouldn't be in the charter. So section 104G. We've also heard public comment recommending further review of charter section 104F, which immediately precedes G. I'll read charter section 104F in its entirety. City cannot, I need to pull out the full text, but charter section 104F prohibits the city from funding a municipal newspaper. I would like to amend, I would like to make a motion recommending that we proceed. I see Justin moving towards the table.
Just to get this also. You said the.
104F.
I'll just know that 104G is what's that, agenda.
Okay. All right. So I would like to proceed with the second option that staff has laid out, which is striking the section. And I will move that forward.
I would second. Commissioner Levine's. All right, motion has been made to strike charter section 104G. There was a staff report that was presented that is in your packets, commissioners. Commissioner Levine, I thank you for raising this. It's also been flagged by a number of departments and city council members as something that they would like to see removed from the charter for the reasons that you outlined. I fully support this motion. Commissioner Field.
Yeah, no, I support it. I just wonder, are there a few more examples besides a wedding in City Hall? What kind of stuff could the city be doing?
Asphalt, but
Yes, I was gonna say asphalt, I don't know if you were at, when Councilmember Hutt visited us, she is one who named asphalt as well as a few other council members, but essentially we have like state of the art asphalt that we could potentially be selling for profit to other municipalities, is my understanding. But there's other.
yeah, we have enough lane miles of road in Los Angeles to go, I think, from LA to New York on a 10-lane highway or something like that, LA to Tokyo on a 4-lane highway, they used to have these things, right? And so as a result, we have asphalt tanks. And we could sell that asphalt to generate revenue. We could have a city gift shop in the second floor if we wanted to. Et cetera, et cetera. There are changes as noted in the staff report made as late as 2024 to clarify that there's no prohibition on things like concessions. I think this is partially in response to the fact that, parks and other places that do gate concessions, but this would just clarify and remove, I think, handcuffs the city as.
Commissioner Lewis.
I recall we discussed this previously. I don't recall this part. Are there any projections around how much more the city could generate if we eliminate this?
Unfortunately, the CAO has left. That would be a good question to direct towards Mr. CAO.
But I don't believe there are any projections.
More than nothing.
A lot.
I can reliably say, more than the nothing we're making right.
There is a motion to remove section 104G from the charter. Is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none, I will call for a vote. Commissioner Andrades. Commissioner Field.
Yes.
Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Matt.
Yes.
Commissioner Massa votes yes. Commissioner Morrison.
Yes.
Commissioner Murray.
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Yes.
Commissioner Stein.
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, we now move to item number 4, consideration of possible approval of the outline for the final report from the Commission to City Council. I'm going to hand it to the Executive Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. What you have before you, is, a section to section outline of what the report will be. Let me just flag, starting with actually section, 4, charter language. That section is entirely, everything that you're passing since last week, today, including the next couple of meetings. That is just something that we're, for the most part, just copying. We are just copying things, those into, section 4. So that is the meat and potatoes of the report. Everything, the sections 1, 2, 3, and 5, well, I also add 5 that you're also, have been already taking actions that, to send additional things to the council, but just not as charter language. Those items will go in section, 5 as well. The other sections are gonna be a compilation of data, of work. So I'll start with executive summary, comprehensive overview, of, the charter amendments. And just giving the big picture of the amendments that are being put forward. Section 2 is gonna be, history. Just again, for council members and the public, kind of reviewing how this commission started from the ordinance to the appointments of the first group of commissioners, to the appointments of the last 5 commissioners, our newest commissioners who have joined as well, and just talking about that process, talking about the 50, I think now 50 plus meetings that you have had in all, as of this Thursday, in all 15 council districts. The tremendous amount of public outreach, public comment, both written, in-person, virtual. Again, this started out with a plan of having about 2 meetings a month. And I said at the time, when you approved that plan, that was gonna be the floor. You have gone up 10 floors from there. And I congratulate you on that. It's been quite a feat. But telling that story is gonna be part of section 2. Section 3 will be core themes. Again, derived from a lot of the work, the analysis, behind all of the meetings, you had a lot of presentations from community groups, from stakeholders, from elected officials, from appointed officials, from cities across America, from Long Beach, California, for some Point Pride, to New York City. So a whole lot of data, a whole lot of research, a whole lot of input will inform those core themes and what came out of those core themes. So that is the framework we're asking. We're asking that to approve this framework. So when we transmit the charter language and explanation for the charter language, the full report will be as outlined. Happy to get to the questions and discuss.
For the purposes of the discussion, I will move a motion to approve the report. Is there a second? Second. Commissioner, what does an appeal, excuse me, Commissioner Fuentes?
Okay, so just to clarify, I had a couple different questions there now. So is the commission, so are we ourselves gonna be reviewing the final report before it's finished?
So the timing of that is the fall. I expect we might be working on this, depending on what this, I plan to have the last commission meeting for charter language on next Tuesday. That is a very tight turnaround to finish the rest of the report. We are writing sections of it, we're working on it, passing this today will help us keep on moving forward on it. In addition, I will say, as a lawyer, my background, it was dictating that, it was just the style of the report will be Times New Roman, black and white. But commissioners and fellow staff members will, we have to do better than that. So it will be, the final report will be a product that will have graphics and help, and large part be designed by our folks at City Fabric, who will, be finishing off that contract with, design. So it's gonna be a good looking report. But in the end, I just don't, that's why we're coming here with you on the advice of the city attorney to approve this outline. So we'll have the direction to finish the report, without coming back with every word being.
I have two more quick questions.
I've got.
So, for charter language, section 4.
Yes.
For descriptions, how descriptive would they be?
So you've
Like,
been
what would-
approving. It's the descriptions
Just-
you've been approving.
just the one.
Yeah, it's not additional.
And then
And that's kind of the ordinance to approve charter language and description, the reasoning and the explanation for this charter.
That makes sense. And then my last question was just for the items after this. If they were to be continued or voted on, whatnot, how do they fit into this?
Or what do you mean?
Items 5 and 6.
So,
If we approve this before that.
so I mean, you still have a lot of charter language to approve at future readings anyway, that is gonna be, so this is again. So you'll approve charter language hopefully on Thursday and next Tuesday. That this outline is assuming that you still have charter language.
And if certain things don't fit within this, in terms of like things that we want to encourage the city council maybe to continue learning on.
That's all section 5.
Ethics.
Yeah, that'll be, yeah, so, and which your, this commission has already done some, so that.
Commissioner Field and then Murray and Lee. Commissioner Field.
Yeah, I also have a few questions. First, I
I've
got
got a few things.
thank our executive director. Because I requested something of this nature and I'm happy to have it. And I guess timeline, you pretty much told us you guys are working till midnight the day before.
I hope not.
Council.
I hope not, but I don't wanna, put a,
Yeah. What is the exact deadline?
April 2nd.
April 2nd, okay. Will the final document be purely digital or will there be print copies? What do you envision?
Probably both, yeah, absolutely both, will probably, I would imagine we'll get you all a nice copy as well, unless you don't want, I know Martin somewhere
Yeah.
saying, don't give me a
Don't-
copy. Let me just part.
Today, and I know it's gonna evolve for section 4, do you have an idea roughly how many specific items are coming out of this commission?
I mean, I don't have it, so Keith does. We're counting the items right now live, cause you've actually,
But we
changed
have-
it tonight. There was stuff that we. 84.
84 distinct.
Yeah, some of them are clustered together.
Yes, right.
But some of them, and so it seemed, it is 84 distinct.
Wow.
Wow.
And I'm gonna raise something that is kind of the extension of this plan. We're all done, we think, as of a week from tonight. When are we legally disbanded and dismissed from the city?
Legally, I believe the language is 2 months
After we transmit.
after we transmit.
Oh,
I mean. You can't add additional recommendations.
right, of course, we're not gonna
Yes. it
but
depends.
technically, we're still commissioners.
Still considered commissioners.
Oh, that raises some interesting issues about our availability for candidates and things like that coming on Tuesday. I think maybe the city attorney, you don't have to go down.
That means that actually it's close to the ethics commission.
Oh, ethics commission, okay. But speaking
You
of
can always
those,
resign afterwards also.
well, actually, but
It's fine.
speaking of my next committee, I've been so highly paid. The follow-up during the 2 months, and even actually till the end of June, I would like to know. I mean, I don't expect to be doing much work, but I would very much like to know what happens at the council run. I wanted to know the staff, some of you at least work through the end of June. What will be the process for keeping us, who put all this time in, to what's going on in, I gather from what you mentioned earlier today, the rules committee, which is where this whole document's gonna go for its first conversation, but how will we be kept informed?
Again, I can't predict 100% the future. I believe, and you know, staff Salem, some presentations and myself. And we will continue to communicate, with both commissioners and.
And we, you know, we're keeping our LA City emails for a while.
Yes.
All right, I just wanna be sure, because I don't plan to be trying to figure out when the ad hoc committee meets, what they're doing. I'm hoping you all will keep me posted.
Yeah,
Just so I know
absolutely.
portion of all this hard work.
And, you know, I assume at some point, when the council lets us know their calendar, when the calendar stop, I can keep it focused.
Commissioner Murray and then Louis.
So when this big beautiful document, charter document is presented. Is
Don't call it a big beautiful.
I'm just making sure everybody's awake.
Well done.
Is there going to be a formal presentation to the city council, schools committee, and who is making that?
I'm still waiting on, information from the council, council president's office, which, of course, is the, chair of the rules committee, on the timeline and when, and how they would like us to present and when. So as soon as I have that information, I will let, commissioners know. I will not be, keeping it dearly to myself. I'll want you, you know, you'll all be invited to, join and, we'll talk with commission leadership, of course, about, you know, divvying up presentations, because it can't just, I don't need to talk. I'm gonna be there, I imagine, to, answer technical questions about the process, but, and to, but I'm not there per se to, advocate for certain things. I'm just gonna advocate for your process and attest to what you all did. And every step, that you painfully, extensively taken to get those recommendations and point out all the important, backup information that you've given and that you intake along the time. And then, of course, our commissioners, will be, really the voice, behind, the system of recommendations.
Commissioner Louis.
Thank you, and thank you, to staff, to Justin and Max, Brianna and Kate for working on this so diligently. This is not an easy task. And I would just say, and I've expressed this in other forums, you know, I think that what I would like to see in this final report is something that is readable, and that in its writing promotes the value of the charter reform process. And I would just say the goal should be to, you know, as we say in the communications game, tell them what you're gonna say it, and then tell them again. And so, you know, I think we can't repeat enough times here sort of what our purpose is and the values that emerge through the deliberations of this body that got us the final document. So I want to thank you again. You'll be transmitting this on the first day of Passover. Dainu means it would have been enough, but I think that's certainly not the case here. We're asking for much more, so thank you.
It's one of those, weeks where it's the crossover between Passover, Holy Week for many Christians, and the day after April Fool's Day, you can celebrate that, so yeah.
What a sacred day indeed.
Yes. A lot of you, if I text you on April 1st, believe nothing.
Commissioner Morrison.
Just a very good question. In the transmittal, do you also indicate a vote spread on the issues so they can see where there was?
Yes, that will be a part of the legislative history. And then I will say, we're working on, you know, our website is just really the most full history of this commission. And we're working on, looking at ways to preserve that and to make sure that's, available, in perpetuity. It has So much public comment, so much research, so many presentations, the minutes. It's really the most full story. This report will be really, we'll tell the story, but really the story is what's on the website. We're looking for ways to ensure that's what's.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Just very quickly, I want to thank staff again for this very outline. I also want to echo what Commissioner Levine states as a communicator. I think it's important you have one bite of the apple to make that first impression. So keeping it palpable and getting the folks that are going to be reading it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Fuentes.
I just wanted to clarify what Commissioner Morrison was asking in terms of legislative history in this report or just outside there?
In this report, yeah.
All right, Commissioner, we're gonna take a vote on approving the charter reform annual report outline. Commissioner Andradas.
Yes.
Commissioner Field.
Yes.
Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Mack.
Yes.
Commissioner Massabos, yes. Commissioner Morrison.
Yes.
Commissioner Murray.
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Yes.
Commissioner Stein.
Yes.
Motion passes. We now move on to item 5, consideration and possible approval of a recommendation from the ad hoc committee on potential charter amendments related to mayoral powers. And I'm going to hand it to Commissioner Andradas, who has made this motion at the ad hoc committee.
I did make this motion at the ad hoc committee many days and weeks ago. So this is a motion to advance the increasing mayoral power, have outlined in the power of city official staff reform. That staff report is from 1/15. This would include increasing the mayor's ability to reorganize departments, allow the mayor to participate in council meetings, and increase the mayor's authority to interdepartmentally transfer funds, and their ability to transfer employees between departments. So I think that the public, first I'll start a little bit, why this is important. So we're enlarging city. We're creating, even if some of what the 25 we suggest passes, there will be more stakeholders, more council members, getting necessary votes will be more challenging, all that to say will create the potential for more gridlock. And it will be harder to get things done. Now, LA, relative to its peer cities across the country, but just also more generally, has a very good mayor. A lot of mayoral candidates come into office thinking that they're going to solve homelessness, that they're going to really get at the heart of these issues, but then they realize that it's the charter that prohibits them from doing a lot of this work because they don't have the power of their own departments, let alone some programs. So this is not a motion to create an unchecked mayor. This is a motion to expand mayoral power very specifically, only in these 3 instances because it is necessary. If we're going to increase city council, we have to think about the downstream effects, and the way to mitigate that is to create a stronger and more powerful mayor. There have been some incorrect information in the ecosystem about what this motion will do. All it would do is increase the mayor's ability to reorganize departments, participate in council meetings, and then interdepartmentally transfer funds and employees, and staff would have to build out specific charter language, much like they have for other.
Commissioner Andradas, I believe very good to move the motion.
Yes, I will then move the motion as stated.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Morrison, discussion. Commissioner Field, Fuentes, and Levine.
Okay, yeah, and I appreciate the context you just offered about presumably a larger council, and we do have a very weak mayor council system. And I, 2 things. One is just the logistics. If we pass this tonight, our staff then has X number of days to bring back. Would we get back the actual charter language, or is it too late? Yeah, you should just stay.
Yeah, I should just say, I'm sorry. So this is the cost. And because this was approved by the ad hoc committee, already, we've kind of been working with folks already on this. So I feel fairly good about, having this ready, most likely to go on Tuesday. Or, yeah, Tuesday.
A week from now. And in terms of content, I just wanted to be really clear what you mean by participate in council meetings, cause. I mean, can't the mayor already just go and talk to the council whenever they feel like it? I mean, are they become loud or, I mean, I just wanna understand on that piece of it, the other stuff I really think. makes sense.
I can clarify, as
Yeah.
a staff report, it doesn't, they would not be the president of the council. It is really, it's real simple. Allow the mayor to participate in city council mayor meetings similarly to the mayors of Houston and Chicago. This includes being able to call special council meetings, to take up specific items, and the ability to introduce motions to the council.
And it says,
Okay.
Doesn't make sense.
Well, in other words, those are details. I'm sorry, those are details that are into just one very brief motion. So is it understood by our staff? I don't think we want our charter to say like they do in Houston.
It's just from staff,
But-
they pretend that Max can speak for it.
Oh, okay, yeah, cause
Maybe we should check to see if the mayor is using the powers he already has.
So in our report called Powers of City Officials, we sort of lay out different models of this, so. There's a Chicago model where the mayor is the president of the city council. In this, some aspects we're proposing here would be, to allow the mayor, as Diego said, to introduce motions. The other big one is to, go to closed session. Because closed session is often where, they talk about litigation, they talk to city attorney, and currently the mayor can't participate in those meetings without being invited by the council president, so this would allow the mayor to participate directly in that. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we're calling for the mayor to become council president in this, but it would really be introducing motions and participating in other ways, as outlined in the report. Commissioner Fuentes,
I've had the same question about participation, so thank you.
Commissioner Morrison.
Oh, sorry. Did I say handle this? It was mine, sorry.
I also got the same question about participation in health meetings, which was addressed to my satisfaction. I would just say, that I agree with the points that Commissioner Ardradas made and, we're supportive of this motion.
Is there any further discussion on the motion?
We don't live in the same city.
All right, seeing the question.
Regarding, the part about transfer funds, my understanding is referring back to South report, there is a number that is the mayor currently can do in our proposed charter language, if this were to pass, are we proposing a number? Is that going to be part of Tuesday or Thursday's discussion or have that number already?
We don't propose a number in the document, so that would probably be helpful for you all to.
Or today?
Yeah, propose something, or we can, bring back a number and then you guys could,
Staff should bring back a number.
yeah, we're gonna finalize it up.
For context, it's only $100,000 right now is the max, which is very low relative to the amount of money that the city has.
all right.
It's, just to clarify, it's a 100,000 without approval of council.
Correct, yeah, so this would increase it. Yes, yeah.
Sure. All right, seeing no further discussion, I'm ready to call a vote on item number 5, to advance, mayoral powers. The staff will come back with charter language next
So
Tuesday.
you won't increase the city.
Commissioner Andradas.
Yes.
Increase.
Commissioner Field.
yes,
Commissioner Fuentes.
No.
Commissioner Levine.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Knapp.
No.
Commissioner Mesa votes yes. Commissioner Morrison.
Yes.
Commissioner Murray.
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Yes.
Commissioner Stein.
Yes.
Motion passes. We now move to item 6, consideration and possible approval of potential government structure related charter amendments. We are gonna go to item 6F, to discuss the office of public advocate, Commissioner Fuentes.
Thank you. I'm happy to continue the discussion on both of the items, 6F and 6G, but I would be looking to continue these items since my co-author isn't here to participate. So let me know if I should.
Are you making a motion to continue to a future meeting? Okay, there is a motion to continue items 6F and 6G to a future meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second. I just,
Okay, so
but
there's,
do we wanna say when future, like, we only had 2 left.
well, so I will address it. There will be discussion, but so Commissioner Field seconds, discussion. Commissioner Fuentes, this is your motion, so you go first and then I'll go after you. This is on the motion to continue.
Just one answer.
If you want to say anything.
Yes, I am looking to postpone these items and I really appreciate them being agendized, but since my co-author isn't present and I think would like to participate in the discussion, I think it's appropriate to postpone. I think if hypothetically you can't attend any of the rest of our meetings, then I would look to have these be included in the appendix. As a
Okay, Mike, I will say that I think we should proceed with the agenda this evening as we have very few meetings left. We're amply above quorum and can have discussion today. Any other discussion? Commissioner Levine.
I'd like to clarify. The motion put forward on the public advocate, this is one of these that we're discussing, right? Would require some significant charter language to be developed. I think we have to hear that this evening in order to give staff time to write it. But my question, I guess, then is to staff, do we have to hear that this evening, should that pass?
I'll be honest, anything new that's heard this evening that can pass that ask us to write charter language is. I honestly, I cannot, I'll say I cannot promise that it'll be ready. I don't know, I won't say no, I definitely won't say yes. We have, you just approved the outline, which we are also writing. We saw some fixes to stuff that we're doing tonight. I just don't know, and I don't feel confident saying that we'd be able to deliver anything, you guys asked tonight, and anything after tonight. Yeah, you know, that's a hard one.
All right. There is a motion to continue these items to a future meeting. I'll call the vote. Commissioner Morales. No. Commissioner Field.
Yes.
Commissioner Fuentes.
yes.
Commissioner Levine.
No.
Commissioner Lewis.
No, you need to vote, Chair Mason, but I need clarity. Are we moving it to consider it as supplemental docs that will be provided, or
This is just to move the discussion in its entirety to a future date.
but the discussion itself is going to be focused on
The motions, well, we didn't get to discussion, there's just been a request to move it to a future date.
Why is that?
so the possibilities are still open once we discuss.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Can you restate it, please?
The motion is to continue this item to a future meeting.
Yes.
Commissioner Matt,
Yes.
Commissioner Mesa votes no, Commissioner Morrison.
No.
Commissioner Murray,
No.
Commissioner Sanchez.
So.
Commissioner Stein,
Now,
motion fails. We now move to discussion on item 6F, motion to discuss the office of public advocate, Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes, so just for some background, as we already know, our commission was established with many purposes and the top included identifying ways to improve the delivery of services, enhancing representation on the city council, assessing how we handle important vacancies, addressing corruption, and to combat the toxic political dynamics exposed in the peptide scandals. And one way to ensure that all of these issues are notably addressed would be to establish a new citywide elected office modeled after the city of New York's Office of the Public Advocate, which was created in 1989 amid comprehensive charter reforms. These changes increased mayoral authority directly as well as indirectly through the expansion of the city council. The position was in part intended to provide a more independent citywide voice on the council and to hold the mayor and administrative state accountable for the delivery of services. The public advocate is first line to serve during a vacancy in an office of mayor and would offer our city much needed clarity in mayoral succession, excuse me. They provide an additional representative that constituents can turn to when following up on 311 requests and provide added citywide oversight and perspective on how we coordinate delivery of services, both within and across departments. The public advocate plays a unique role on the city council and all city council committees, where they serve as a non-voting member capable of discussing items and introducing and seconding motions. They also hold limited powers to investigate complaints and to address failures to comply with charter. The public advocate's powers are designed to respect the jurisdiction of other existing departments, and they must refer matters appropriately. Significant reforms the commission is advancing, like increasing the number of city council members, would reshape our local representative government. However, this will require the redrawing of district lines. That would not be feasible to accomplish until the next regular redistricting cycle. So we wouldn't begin to see a notable different city council until a more representative body is finally seated in December 2032. And we can't afford to wait 7 years to begin to see tangible changes at City Hall. The Charter Reform Commission can enhance and expedite that change by advancing the creation of an elected public advocate whose powers and responsibilities are tailored to the specific needs of our city.
Commissioner Field.
Well, does it need to?
So, yes, would you like to make a motion, Commissioner Fernandez?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll second it, and then when you're ready, the usual, lots of questions.
Commissioner Field.
Okay, I guess I want to say, in speaking of the very legitimate concern expressed by colleagues about our staff's capacity and time, I would just like to say that the best part of this is a succession plan if the mayor isn't available. Because we haven't done anything about that I know of in this whole process. And that really is a key issue in our city. There was almost a crisis a few years ago on that topic. With the city council president saying I can be mayor and that president. Anyway. So I think this is an important thing and it has many other benefits. I would also say that if we do support it, because we believe in some of, at least the general framework of this concept of a citywide elected official that can be the interim mayor or whatever, that if our staff doesn't have time, that we add this to the appendix, that we simply send it in that, whatever it's called, comments from the commission or however you can call it, as not necessarily being in charter language, but presenting the concept. So I would encourage support of it because again, there's no other place unless someone corrects me, which I'm perfectly open to, that we have dealt with that issue of what happens when the mayor isn't here.
I would completely agree with that in terms of, even if this motion doesn't pass, including it in the appendix, I think that's appropriate. Also, the staff has prepared a memo on this topic already as well, so there's been a bit of research beyond our reports and the minutes and all that.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Rubin. Commissioner Max.
I would just like to thank Commissioners Fuentes and Thomas for bringing this forward. This is an issue on which I've had a bit of a personal evolution. I think I came to this question with a lot of skepticism around the need to expand the city bureaucracy, expand the number of elected officials. But I think that one thing that's shared by a lot of Angelinos is a belief that our government is not working for the city as it should and could. And this is a common sense solution to providing more representation, more accountability, and more advocacy on behalf of the people. I'm less moved by the succession question, but I appreciate it as a topic. I think it's an important motion to advance, so I'll be supporting this.
Commissioner Matt.
I mean, I feel like, Commissioner Levine just kind of summed up what I was going to say, but I would just add that, to me, like, I'm always going to be on the side where we prioritize more public engagement and public input. I would say that as of right now, there's currently none of the departments in the city that I feel like has sufficient priority on community engagement and just engaging with the public, and so I do feel like this motion on the table will get us closer to that. And so I will also be in favor of this motion.
Commissioner Levine, oh, sorry, Commissioner Morrison.
You know, let me be your focus group of the public. If this was such a good idea, why is it coming up in the last week of the commission?
So that's what it got agendas.
Was that?
That's what it got agendas.
3 weeks ago, Raymond's continued meeting.
I'm sensitive to what the staff and the city attorney has to do by next Tuesday. I'm open to having this be in the appendix as an idea, but I'm not particularly supportive of having people have to jump through groups to try to come up with some complicated amendments that we would have to tease out probably next Tuesday night. It seems like a really, really big.
Yeah, just to take a step back, we've been discussing this since our committee meetings, those first government structure and reform committee meetings. Our committee chair could probably speak to those discussions if you'd like, but this issue isn't new. It's been discussed multiple times, as well as with the full one.
Commissioner Levine, I'm gonna make a friendly jab, and that's all it is. I'm not sure, I'm not sure if you saw the language on the budget allocation for this office, but that's, like I said, this is right. All right, further discussion. Okay, we are going to, I'm going to call a vote. The motion is to approve the creation of an elected office of public advocate. Commissioner Andradas. Commissioner Field.
Yes.
Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Matt.
Yes.
Commissioner Mesa votes no. Commissioner Morrison.
No.
Commissioner Murray.
No.
Commissioner Sanchez.
No.
Mr. Stein. No. Motion fails. We now move on to item 6G. Motion for proportional rate choice.
2 more votes here.
That is actually with 9 districts of a 27 seat model. Commissioner Fuentes.
Let me know if this is appropriate to do now or later, but I would like to. Sorry, I would like to make a motion to append, put this in the appendix for the public advocate.
Oh, yeah, that's in order. Is there a second?
Chair Matt will second that.
All right, there's a motion to put item 6 F in the appendix discussion.
Thank you. And then in terms of this motion, oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I just want to see if there's any discussion on the appendix. Is there Commissioner Field?
Just for clarity, in other words, we're not debating putting this as charter language or any of that, we're just saying. Oh, on public advocate?
That's public advocate, that it's going to be.
You're on the next thing, so.
Are you 2 weeks close? No,
No, it does. Okay.
Oh,
Let me ask you this, is there any objection to putting this in the appendix?
Yes.
Yes, okay, objection, any discussion? Discussion, Commissioner Matt.
I'll just add that we are not the last charter reform commission to be looking at the charter, and so I think. A lot of what we're doing is just getting involved with rolling. I don't think the conversation around public advocate is going to die here tonight. It's going to be an ongoing conversation because there's a need for more public advocacy and just more public engagement. And so to me, I'm doing this, even if it's not discussed at the city council level, it allows for us to show that we talked about it, but also for future commissions who are looking at this, they can kind of refer to it and continue the conversation at the time of meeting. So I would just add that, and I see there's value in us including it in our attendance since we took so much time to kind of have the discussions and talk about the value of it, and it is a topic that the public has come to speak and advocate for us for, so I personally would like to include it.
There's. Is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none, I will call a vote on putting the motion for public advocate in the appendix. Commissioner Andrades. Commissioner Field.
Yes.
Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Matt.
Yes.
Commissioner Massa votes no. Commissioner Morrison.
Yes.
Commissioner Murray.
No.
Commissioner Sanchez.
No.
Commissioner Stein.
No.
Motion fails. As we now move on to item 6G.
Wow, that's when you get yourself a minority report, Raymond.
Motion to
Enjoy that.
have proportional.
What is minority report, Raymond?
Specifically with 9 districts of 27 seats or more. Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes, so I have adjusted language here that should have been passed out to all commissioners, but essentially I was, to summarize, just looking to put proportional ranked choice voting in the appendix itself as a topic area. So I wanted to amend the text of my agenda item for 6G on today's agenda to no longer seek further debate about proportional ranked choice voting and multi-member council districts. Instead, given the limited amount of time left for our commission to complete its work, and that we have already recommended a single seat ranked choice voting to accompany council expansion, I'm proposing a more neutral approach to the information we forward to city council. That would include the text in the appendix that reflects the consideration given by the commission to this issue, including minutes of the decisions taken about proportional ranked choice voting and multi-member districts by the government structure committee and the ad hoc committee, as well as linking to our RCD multi-member district presentations to the government structure committee and the memo submitted in response to those requests by us.
Just discussion. Commissioner Field and Andrades.
I think my question is for just uniformity maybe. These 2 bullet points about all the details about minutes and the link to presentations. Is that how everything in the appendix is going to be done? Or is this now making this particular topic way more detailed in the appendix than the other appendix items?
Thank you for that, question. I think, again, the full history, I think when we were talking about presentations, all of that, that will still be on the website. But, when you're putting something in the appendix, for example, this on, proportional interest voting, we will include first basically the motion. That if it's passed and language and everything in the motion, and then we'll include additional, some additional details, but it won't be the full, just because there's just so much. Yes, that's all. Again, much like, for another example, minutes kind of are the breakdown of the meetings, but the full meeting is captured in the video / audio. Think of it that way.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Might I offer what might be a friendly amendment, considering what Justin just said and. What he said earlier about how complex the implementation would be, would you be open to a friendly amendment to allow staff to adjust the language, length and tone as they see fit to match that other items in the appendix?
I'll accept that as an amendment.
Somebody restated, because Diego was speaking towards you and it sort of faded off.
Oh, sorry. To restate, my amendment, right now, the motion is written was prescriptive and that staff was have to match its language exactly. So I offered a friendly amendment to allow staff to adjust the language as needed to match for tone, length, and other items to match those previous, will also be included in the appendix of this, not higher.
That motion, that amendment was friendly, yeah. Further discussion. All right, Commissioner, on this, can you restate the motion as amended, please?
Yes, a more neutral approach to the information we forward to city council that would include text in the appendix that reflects consideration given by the commission to the issue of proportional ranked choice voting as well as multi-member council districts. And I would add the friendly amendment of similarity to the rest of the appendix structure.
All right, I will call vote. Commissioner Andrade.
Yes.
Commissioner Feel.
Yes.
Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes.
Commissioner Louis.
No.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Matt.
Yes.
Commissioner Mesa votes no. Commissioner Morrison.
Yes.
Commissioner Murray.
No.
Commissioner Sanchez.
No.
Commissioner Stein.
No.
Motion fails. We now go on to item 7, consideration and possible approval of potential charter member relative to creation of a standing commission. Commissioner Andrade.
Yeah, so I've been told by Justin that I do not understand the concept of ready, so I do think that there's value in this, because this is quite long, so I'll walk through it and give you the important highlights of the preamble. That this has, but this is a motion on establishing a charter and governance reform commission that meets regularly. So right now, there are 2 main ways that city council that charter amendments go on the ballot. It's city council puts it there, or voters put it there. Voters put it there because there are a lot of administrative burdens. But when charter amendments go through city council, there's very lengthy process. It takes sometimes several years for specific amendments. This means that since it takes so much time, city council's office is really constrained, so they have to think that the amendment is so important that it's worth their time, whether that means making an ad hoc committee or even putting it through one of the existing committees. So anything that's not politically expedient, it really doesn't get a charter amendment. That's why there's so much on our docket, because it was almost 26 years before council got anything. That being said, council does regularly engage in charter amendments. There have been over 30 amendments in 1999 and now, on many different things. And we have to look towards the city and county levels to figure out the importance of sustaining institutional attention to governance reform. After Measure D was passed, the county established a governance reform task force to implement Measure G's structural changes. Additionally, with Measure ULA, we saw that this voter approved reform actually had unintended consequences that did require intervention. So I think together these examples demonstrate how governance reform requires an ongoing attention, especially considering how many items we're putting on the docket of the council and how many will require them to flush out ordinance. There needs to be a body to build out ordinance language that we're requiring them to do, because even if council passed with such an motion, they would still have a lot of work to do when the new council needs to build out the ordinance necessary to make them keep. So this would be a way, an additional ongoing commission with limited purview would be a way to do that. And then lastly, I will say, our commission definitely suffered from the lack of institutional knowledge. We didn't have a commission to turn to. that we regularly engage with, charter court to turn to, all we had was the city attorney. In these factors taken together, that's why I wrote a motion, that would allow the limited review of governance reform, to be adopted in the charter reform process. So now I'm gonna read in specificity the specific motion, since there are a few key points, and I will specify 2 amendments. I therefore move to establish a charter and governance reform commission with limited jurisdiction to assist city council in implementation, evaluation, and specific review of governance reforms. I further move that the charter and governance reform commission shall consist of 7 members appointed through institution of appointing authorities to ensure independence. Independence and broad institutional representation, and at least 2 members shall be selected through an open application process, allowing qualified residents of the city of Los Angeles to apply to serve. I further move that the jurisdiction of the Charter and Governance Reform Commission shall be limited to matters, and then this is an amendment, so it's falling within the scope of the city charter and governance structure that it elects to study on its own initiative. The commission may also be directly referred matters by a majority vote of the Los Angeles City Council or a formal request for review submitted to the mayor. I further move that the commission shall study refer governance matters, consult with relevant city departments and stakeholders, and issue advisory reports and recommendations to the city council regarding potential legislative and structural reforms. Further move that the commissioner shall serve 4-year terms, however the charter and governance reform commission shall dissolve during the period when a comprehensive charter review commission is convened to conduct full charter review, ensuring that the comprehensive charter review commission retains exclusive authority to undertake a broad charter review during this period. I further move that the institutional knowledge, research, and staff expertise developed by the charter and governance reform commission shall remain available as a resource for the city council and further city charter reform commissions, and then I strike the last clause, so you can complete that. It's a detailed motion, I think it would take limited staff time to implement, especially if they did it in such a way that says, that council would flesh out the specifics by ordinance, but that is a motion as connected.
Is there a second?
Yes, awesome.
Discussion. Mr. Commissioner Lewis.
For clarity, Chair Robinson you moved to strike the last.
Yes, the last part, because I further moved that members of the city that entire clause is stricken, so as not to make it look like this is the self-serving motion.
I like the spirit of it. It seems to me this is a quality assurance approach, I suppose, to make sure that recommendations in, well, when it's passed, it's actually implemented as intended to ensure continuity until the next time we do this. 2 questions. So there's a proposal to have 2 of these 7 slots come through an open application process. The other 5, what's the proposal there, how to fill those, and what are the potential costs that would be incurred in forming this commission?
Yeah, I can speak to both of those. The other 5, I think would either be left to city council to determine by ordinance, or our staff to come back to us with a list. It would probably be similar to this commission, so several from the mayor, several from the council president, etc. Costs associated with it, I see it operating with limited costs, since this commission would only meet a couple of times a month and have a very limited staff purview. Again, I think that that's up to city council to determine by ordinance if our commission should.
Just 2 times a month, you said?
About, yeah, like a lot of other commissions meet 2 times a month, maybe 1 time.
I mean, as you said, we're all laughing, I'm sure for the same reason, that's what we're proposing. Or what-
Yeah, I mean, it's up to the commission.
Ideally.
Yeah, that's the floor.
Mr. Lewis is volunteering for that commission. That's Commissioner Lewis to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think Commissioner Andrade's motion is very well intentioned. However,
it's really come up very, very late. In these proceedings, I believe that the motion was submitted either last meeting or the meeting before, so somewhere in that vicinity. And with an overworked staff, something that looks simple can take a lot longer. The other reason that I'm inclined to vote no is council on its own has done for so many times to put up charter reform of their own. So I think we're creating a commission that is not necessarily needed at this particular time. Because if there's a burning issue, the public is going to continue to talk and speak to council about charter reforms or on their own. Put on their own motion, so those are my reasons, as well intentioned as this is from Commissioner Andronis. I don't know.
Commissioner Levine. I want to thank Commissioner Andrade for bringing this forward. I think that while it's true that there are many avenues for bringing forward charter reforms, having a citizens commission dedicated to the permanent study and proposal of the charter, and I would add Diego's or Commissioner Andrade's very smart governance reform commission moniker, is productive in encouraging a discussion around how to make the city better in an ongoing way. We are taught in our civic classes the Constitution of the United States is a living document. The Charter of the City of Los Angeles should be so too. And I would add, Commissioner Max is something that stuck with me in a previous discussion around encouraging civic participation. And I also think that part of what the net effect of a lot of the reforms that we've been considering will accomplish is encouraging a more vibrant and dynamic civic discourse by bringing conversations around civics and the nature of the city to more venues where they can be heard. And I do think that were such a commission in existence, and as I feel like we've mentioned more tonight than in previous meetings, the Fed tapes came out, that there would have been more urgent action. You know, this commission took however long to be approved by ordinance and then seated. Some of us got here even later than that. And I think that the utility of that in that context is self-evident, but I also see a broader benefit of bringing more citizen discussions like the ones we have here with engaged stakeholders in an ongoing way as having value in itself. So I would vote yes.
Further discussion.
Public advocate time.
All right, seeing no more discussion, I will call a vote on this item. This is on Commissioner Andrade's motion as amended to establish a charter governance reform commission. Commissioner Andrade.
Yes.
Commissioner Field is absent. Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Mack.
Yes.
Commissioner Massa votes no. Commissioner Morrison.
No.
Commissioner Murray.
No.
Commissioner Sanchez.
No.
Commissioner Stein.
No.
Motion fails. Commissioners, we're gonna do ex parte disclosures. You had a ex parte conversations since during this meeting. Commissioner Fuentes.
No.
Commissioner Mack.
No.
Commissioner Andrade.
No.
Commissioner Stein.
No.
Commissioner Mesa has none. Commissioner Murray.
No.
Commissioner Sanchez.
No.
Commissioner Lewis.
No.
Commissioner Levine.
No.
Commissioner Morrison. Can we get a quick housekeeping reminder, Executive Director, on location at our next meeting?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, we're gonna be in CB8 for our last of the district meetings at their district office. The location is on the website. There's parking on nearby available, street parking available. There's also multiple public transit opportunities to get to that location as well, starting at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. in CB8.
Can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Is there a second? Any objection? Seeing that we are done, like,